Hey everyone, that's right. We are doing a tier list, which is exciting. I've never done a tier list before, except for the one time where I did record a tier list and Ben didn't like the video and did not post it. But this one was going to be great, don't worry. And I have said we, because yes, there is an extra special guest for this video, which is exciting. It's been ages since I've done a video with another person. And we got a good guest for that. It's Mr. LJ Johnson. How are you, good sir?
I am doing wonderfully. Thank you so much for having me. This is super exciting.
Well, I'm glad you're excited because I don't know, I love a good tier list. I love the heated debates, just the excitement of ranking things. And I also love the fact that I feel like if I did this list 5 years ago, whatever I put on this would be very different to whatever I put on now. Because I don't know about you, I don't know how definitive your favorites are, but I feel like mine change and evolve as I learn and grow as a person. And it's a nice little snippet as to like, hey, who are you as a person and what makes you happy, you know? Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And no, I very much agree, though. I think my taste in certain sets or characters has changed over the years, even just within the last 5.
Yeah, cool. I mean, you were just telling me before we recorded how much you love video as a theme. So, like...
Absolutely, yeah. No, like, honestly, if I could go back in time, like, I wouldn't wear the Miru. It would have to be one of the video heads.
I mean, there's an alternate universe where video was the theme that saved Lego, and then this weird theme called Bionicle dropped, and everyone was like, who wants this? And then it died very instantly because of their weird app, and also... I hate this timeline. I don't want this to exist.
I was about to say, listen, we got a snippet of it in 2016. We saw how that went.
Yeah. But... let's begin. So the way I'm looking at this, in terms of how we're ranking everything, is really just our general kind of like opinions and thoughts on each set, each character, looking at it from like a mocking perspective, looking at it from a parts perspective, looking at it from just how it is as a set, but also looking at who they are as a character within the story. And I'm very glad I have you for that, because do I know the Bionicle story? Probably like 50-60% of it. There's a lot I don't know and a lot I don't remember, but I feel like you know every corner of it, and that's impressive.
At least as much as I can at this point. I'm sure there's a bunch I've forgotten, but my friend Meso and I, we were just on a Bionicle game show, and I don't want to spoil it for whoever wants to watch it, but we didn't do too bad.
Wow, cool. Heck yeah. Well, first bit of trivia for you. Who's this character? What's their name?
Oh, Akmu.
There you go.
Good old friendly, not real friendly, Matoran from Metro Nui.
So, from what I remember of this character, he was secretly working for Pterodax, and there was this whole, even kind of in the marketing, it was like, who's the evil Matoran? Like, oh, what's happening? Although I think I called him Akmau as a kid, but I guess Akmu. Anyway, what are your thoughts on him? And did I get that story right, or am I misremembering?
You're actually, no, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Akmu, he was the treacherous Pomatoran on Metro Nui in 2004, and he was kind of bullied by some of the Dark Hunters that had been hired by Makuta to figure out where the discs were. And then later, Makuta was like, hey, everyone just kind of left you here, and they're big jerks, so you should help me out. And he was like, sounds good to me, because he didn't have any memories, so that was easy to do. I like Akmu, because he's very different than most of the other Matoran we interact. Most Matoran are very well-mannered, well-meaning, they're helpful, they're nice, and Akmu is all about himself. He is such a jerk.
That's actually a really good argument. I had, like... because I was actually going to come in and be like, you know what? I like this set and I don't like this set. I have mixed feelings about all of those masks for the Matoran. I kind of wish they were just one solid color and didn't have the silver in them. I like the silver. It does visually look cool, but I always find it a little harder to use in a mock. And you know, this Matoran design is very limited with its posability. It's just, I don't know, I feel like it's a very forgettable Matoran. But you have swayed me with the like layers of the character, I suppose you could say. Because what I always love about a good villain is depth and interesting justification for why they do what they do. Even if I don't fully agree with what they do, at least I can look at it and be like, I could understand why a person would do that sort of thing. And I feel like motivation is really important for a bad guy. But I also can't get past the fact that, like, if we're comparing this to literally any other set on this list, he is a little, like, bland and not that posable.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think if I were to place him anywhere, kind of finding that happy medium as a set, he'd probably be lower. But if you want to, like, balance it out, I might put him in B. But that's just...
You know what? I was going to put him in C before I heard your argument. But then now, I think it's B. I think he is a fun, very cool character and not really something that they've done a huge amount of. I'm happy with that. Anyway, I'm just going to put this one up here in S, and then...
Heck yeah. Of course. Oh, absolutely. That I will say, when I first got a hold of the Bahrag, the gear grinding sound that they made when you activate their function scared the tar out of me. I was so worried that I had built it wrong or that the gears were going to break. Oh, it terrified me.
It's funny because as someone who enjoys a good Transformer every now and then, whenever I pick up my old Transformers from my childhood, there are absolutely times where I bend a joint and it makes the most satisfying, like, ratchet clanking, like, loud noise. And there's almost something about it that feels like a heft and a quality to it. And then sometimes I'll pick up a modern Transformer and you'll move a limb and there's zero noise. Part of me is like, is that a cheaper plastic? Like, is this actually better? Because maybe I don't want it to make noise, but I don't know. There's something nostalgic about it. And there's something, I don't know, it almost feels more robotic, right? But,
oh yes,
I think that's weirdly a part of their charm. Yeah. But I also just love the gear function. I don't think there's a better gear function in any Bionicle set. Also, too, just like weird chicken dragon things, like that's so good.
They are. When I did a review on them, when I was doing like all of my reviews,
yeah,
I had skits for every single review I did. And in the Bahrag skit, I literally had them amongst a flock of chickens. They are so chicken shaped and very closely chicken sized.
Kind of, actually. Yeah, great point. I can't really sing their praise any further. I think, like, I don't know. It's always hard to pick favorites, but, like, there isn't really a better Bionicle set, so...
Yeah, no, I think they're really cool. I love they are comprised, like, the actual sets themselves are comprised so heavily of Bohrok pieces. And I love when sets do that. Like, we see it later on with Makuta, and it's awesome. I love that parts usage.
Yeah, but also just like the general kind of meta-ness of that as well, that like the characters are related and then it makes sense the pieces are, but also just like it's cool to see Lego using the same pieces in more creative ways because it inspires you and stuff, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Speaking of good pieces, Carapace.
Ooh, the Barraki. I am a bit of a sucker for the Barraki. I think that they were really, really great designs. Carapace, I always liked the idea of him, but in story, he was kind of... He was dumb in a weird way, because he was dumb because the blue Barraki Takedox had mind-controlled him so many times, it made him kind of dumb. And that is unique amongst the dumb, strong characters that Bionicle had, but I don't know if it really added anything to him over any of the other big, dumb, strong characters.
Yeah, interesting. Whenever I played Dungeons and Dragons, often if I am doing like a very quick game, like a quick little one-shot or something, I will often lean towards just like, I'll just do a dumb character, because like I don't have to put too much like thought and effort into that, and it can be really fun to play. But there's often not a lot of nuance to the character, and like it's so easy to name the sort of like dumb bruiser type character in most media. They exist everywhere. So yeah, I get that. I get the whole like, I don't know, that being a little boring. But that being said, I freaking love the pieces in this set. That weird inky yellow color, the big, beautiful, bulky armor. Like, I literally did a video where I listed, I think, like 10 odd examples of just how easy it is to use all of his different pieces and how good it always looks. I can agree with you that they're not necessarily the most interesting character, but I think they really freaking excel from like a mocking perspective. I don't know if you agree, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I think that the actual set design is really good. I will say I've really enjoyed the parts Carapace has. in every other color than the ones that debuted with him, because he debuted the thigh armor, shoulder armor, chest armor, and the head, and every other set I've seen those parts in, all in different colors, like blues from Power Miners, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Power Miners, and then we see it later in like Karzahni, the chest piece. I love the parts. I love the other colors. This is super unique, and I do appreciate Karapar for that. It's just kind of a funny thing, just like how much I like parts of Karapar outside of Karapar.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you said. I was about to fight you because I was about to be like, that color's great. What do you mean? And then you reminded me of the blue ones in the Power Miners set. And I was like, oh, those are really cool. Yeah.
Really nice.
I kind of want to put him in A unless you disagree.
I think it's fair enough to put him in A because he was the pioneer for a lot of really good pieces, like those blade pieces that comprises Claw we see later on. We get the return of the Rahkshi feet in that dark bluish gray. That's really cool. And he is a really, like, if you're going, I'm a sucker for animal motifs. I grew up on the Animal Planet. And so all the Barraki I really enjoy, and Karapar is not an exception to that. As a character, he isn't the strongest, but his set is really cool.
I agree with everything you said. That being said, he has a squid launcher, so D. What about Elec?
You know what? Agreed.
I lied. What about Elec?
Elec is my favorite of the Barraki. And not only story-wise, he's very unique. Like, he stands out a lot. He was, of course, like the other Barraki, one of the League of Six Kingdom members. And in the pit, he has a lieutenant. It's Nocturne. And he's really trying to amass an army. We first are introduced to him because he built a fortress that was crushed by Mari Nui. And so he's super bitter toward the Matoran. He's got an awesome design. I love the spines. I love that hunchback look. The claws are just sick. Of course, my favorite color is green. I'm a sucker for green. I love the contrast of not only those unique spine pieces, but also the dark green and then that lime. Just awesome.
I will second everything you said. I mean, we were just talking about pieces in different colors being better than the original, but I think those sort of trans green, they're not even quite trans green, spikes is the best color that piece has ever appeared in. I like it in silver. Has it come in other colors other than silver? I don't think so.
It does. It comes in that kind of bluish color with Nocturne.
Good point, thank you. That's actually a pretty good recolor. I'll double down what I said. That's still really cool. Yeah, Estia? Like, you've swayed me with the story. Because especially too, like, I think it needs to be said, like, the Barraki was so revolutionary for being such visually different designs, and how that really did feel like you're exploring underwater and seeing all these exotic, weird creeps from the deep and creatures, and it felt like the real world where that is also the case. Even just his fairly simplistic body design with that lift arm in the middle being quite, like, slim and skinny, but it made sense. It felt very appropriate for a sort of electric eel. Or was he an electric eel? I guess he was more of a, like, sea urchin kind of thing. But still, like, it feels sort of bony.
You're right. He was an eel.
Oh, there you go. But yeah, it still feels sort of, like, skeletal and, like, creepy. I don't know, I'm trying to pick anything on the set that I'm like, oh, that's not quite good. But, like, every little section of it from, like, a design perspective, I think is really good.
I think I would personally put him in A myself, just because while he has a unique design and a unique build, as all the Barraki do, I don't know if he does anything that, like, blows me away in like, a set design sense. You know, he's a bipedal humanoid character with very large swords. Like, don't get me wrong, love it. But, like, compared to something with, like, a function, I am a goofy sucker for functions.
I think you're right.
Awesome.
I feel like the S tier needs to be, like, the top tier.
Oh yeah.
But Elec over Karapar or Karapar over Elec?
Elec over Karapar, in my opinion. But I can see the argument for either, because again, Karapar had all of those really impressive pieces that were used, I believe, far more. Well, okay, I was going to say more than the parts from Elec, but I hesitate because I know some of his pieces ended up in Exoforce.
Yeah. Good point. I'm gonna leave it like this for now. We'll have other stuff. We can always move things around, Kalma.
Wasn't one of my favorites. His character doesn't stand out to me too terribly much. He was pretty straightforward. I'm a bad guy. His squid motif is cool. Like, his gimmick in the story was he was the one kind of managing the squid farm for everyone. So the fact that they all use the squid launcher is his fault, which I feel we might want to dock points for.
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Yes. And he introduces some cool parts, but not as many as the others, and we don't see it recolored in as many colors as the others. I think the only color I know it's in is silver, and that comes in like Gadunka and Hydraxon.
There is...
So he was never one of my favorites.
Yeah, I think... correct me if I'm wrong. I think the dude who rides Scorpio, the big red mech Scorpio,
shoot.
he has something Keats orange. Again, a very kind of rare recolor that, like, I forgot existed. But even still, I agree with you. Like, a lot of these pieces were quite revolutionary in other themes, and then his stuff not as much. We did see the tentacles in, like, black as well.
And green.
Yes. But even still, I was actually going to say I have a little bit of a beef with that piece. At the moment, I've taken a few days off from recording and I'm cleaning my Lego room. I was putting Kalma up on the shelf today, and the tentacles I have for him are incredibly warped. I think I bought him secondhand, so they kind of came like that. But even still, that rubber material, for me, I have a few issues with because it has warped over time and doesn't look as cool as it originally did when it was more sort of like straight and streamlined. I don't know if you have that problem with your versions of those pieces. Some of mine have that problem, some of mine don't, but most of mine do.
I haven't checked on these pieces in a minute. I have all of my sets kind of boxed up. They're built, they're just carefully placed in boxes.
Gotcha.
So I haven't checked on them in a while, though I do know the problem that you're talking about. And yeah, it's real.
As you were talking about, like, recoloring these pieces, it makes me really wish that mask had appeared in more colors, but I could say that about most Bionicle sets. He's good. I do like the way that a lot of his armor is placed to kind of give it a bit of that, like, crustaceous kind of look, like a lobster or like many other sea creatures. There is good stuff going on. Do you think he's still A, or do you think he actually goes down to B?
Honestly, this might be a bit of a hot take. I'd put him in C.
Whoa! Defend your choice.
I guess, okay, to be fair, that would put him below Akmu, which that is kind of a tall order. So maybe not C, but yeah, I would definitely B. He is very mid-range in my eyes.
Sure. I can get behind it. I do like him. He was my first Barraki, so I feel a sentimental attachment to him, but I'm trying to remove some of my sentimental attachments here because I feel like we're trying to look a little more objectively, I guess. But I feel a little bad. I do like him, but I get you. Mantax. Mantax. See, I shouldn't have cleaned today. There's dust all over the place, and my voice is like, help. Mantax.
Oof, Mantax. Mantax was kind of the silent, reserved type. He was always... if you had to give the title conspiracy theorist to any of the Barraki, it would have been him. Oh. And to his credit, he was right. He had sussed out that someone had betrayed them all those years ago when they were warlords, and he was 100% right about that. Mantax is a set I'm not... He is my least favorite of the Barraki. I just find his build is really awkward, and the proportions... When I was growing up, the proportions made it kind of difficult to really appreciate or play with, really. And I haven't felt too terribly strongly about him ever since. The headpiece also, I don't think, plays very nicely with the shoulder armor.
I'm glad you said that, because I initially wanted to say he was the worst Barraki, but I don't know if I'm going to stick with that thought, because I have another thought in a hot second, which you'll see. But like, when I say worst, I mean like all the other Barraki are like 10s out of 10. Despite the fact we've ranked them lower, they're still very good sets. But I do think that Mantax is sort of lower down on the list. I think just some of his design doesn't stand out as much as the others and feels a little bit more forgettable in a way.
Yeah.
I like the way that the head interacts with the shoulders. I feel like it does create that sort of like very flat surface that you would see on a manta ray.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, there's not a lot on him that I'm like, oh, how good was that? Like, it's good, but I'm not looking at it being like, oh, that's like next level stuff like we were seeing on Elec, like we were seeing on Karapar. Yeah, look, I don't disagree with you, but I think that being said, it's not like I'd put him in C. I think I'd still put him in B, but like after Kalmar.
No, I think that's totally fair. It's starting to make me wonder, did we put Akmu too high? Because, like, Akmu he's definitely, in my opinion, he's the better character than these two, but the less impressive set.
He certainly is a less impressive set. I do feel good that we've put one of the, like, Matoran here. I don't know about you, but often I think, like, some of those, like, smaller sets can get forgotten and people are like, oh, but how good are the, like, the Toa size sets and the Titans and stuff? It's nice to see a little guy getting some love.
That's fair. Yeah.
But
no,
I think his story, of pretty much every other character that we currently have on the list, his story is probably the best. And I think that's what's carrying him so much. I actually think he's fine there. I get what you're saying. I agree. But I think his story's rad.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. Prydak.
Oh, Prydak. This was always a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch the community respond to Prydak because a bunch of people had to ask Greg Farshty, the red markings, is that supposed to be blood? And Greg had to come up with an explanation, and he basically said, no, they're natural markings. That's just what he looks like. And it's definitely one of those out of this get through quality control at LEGO kind of a situation.
Yeah.
But Prydak, I think Prydak is cool. I think there's a lot that he does very well. I personally like him more than Mantax. I might like him more than Kalma. Also, man, it's frustrating trying to pose him with that center torso piece and the feet. The feet are super long, and I get that they, you pose him like a shark, you flip one upside down, it's supposed to look like a fin. But sometimes it can be a little frustrating, especially if you got loose joints, trying to get him in stable poses with that center torso joint.
I'm very glad you said all this. What I was going to say before when I was like, I want to say Mantax is the worst Barraki, but no, I actually think it's Prydak. And I'm sorry, Prydak, I love you. I don't mean to be so rude to you, but like, this list is all about being very objective and ranking things. Like, I have to be, I'm sorry. But I have very vivid memories as a kid of, I bought Kalmar, and then I think I actually then just bought all 5 of the other Barraki, and then I was playing with all of them en masse. And I remember like lining them up against the wall and like posing them to make them look cool and stuff, and really struggling with posing Prydak and being a little frustrated with that as a kid. Not like, oh, I hate this toy or anything. Like, I still had fun, but I remember being a bit kind of like, I like that they gave him waist articulation, but like the rest of his limbs just make him feel so kind of gangly, and it is difficult to kind of get him in a good position. And yeah, his feet are so awkward. Visually, they look super cool. I love that piece. It's a great element, but he's just so difficult to pose. And even the choice to give him the like Nuva limb pieces that have a very like natural kind of bend and curve to them. I don't think that really helps either. Yes, I think an element of that, like the logic behind it being that it feels sort of like wavy and curvy, and the way that a shark would like dart through the water, the energy of that is kind of invoking that. But I don't know, from a practicality perspective, it didn't quite work for me. It felt a little too just difficult to play with. But visually, he looks super sick. And yes, the whole is that blood, is that not blood? Even as a kid, I was like, that's pretty cool. And it's always fun, I think, any LEGO set that does sort of somehow get through the cracks in LEGO, and you are like, how does this exist? I always love a set like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to put him in C because I think we both listed some pretty strong like cons, but I also really think he looks sick.
And then there's also the story consideration.
Sure.
He is the de facto leader of the Barraki. Like, he kind of runs the show, but he's not very good at it. He's kind of a rage monster in several instances. He doesn't really carry through after 07 is done. Like, he doesn't have any staying power. He doesn't have that legacy like other villains do, especially in the community. He did get a really cool comic, graphic novel comic with Hydraxon, and that gave us some really cool artwork of him. But, like, he is the shark one. I don't have any qualms putting him in C.
It weirdly feels right. And again, I'm sorry, Prydak. I do like you. I feel bad. This is one of those things because I so much love my Bionicle sets, but I am being forced to pit them against each other and say that they're better than others. And unfortunately, that's just where he ends up. But yeah,
true. True. We are picking our favorite children here.
This exactly. Speaking of favorite children, Takodox.
Really like Takodox. I think that's a gnarly looking color scheme. I like the pieces that he has, and of course, I mean, he's glow in the dark.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love it. He's supposed to. The one thing against him story wise is it's a little unclear right out the gate. Like visually, you're not super sure what he's supposed to be. What is the sea creature he is meant to represent, and it is, as far as I am to understand, a mantis shrimp.
That's what I thought, yeah. I don't know. I actually thought that was
cool, but...
Yeah, sorry, you go on. I don't want to interrupt you. So it's that we're going to have the lag.
Please, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, I think as a kid I was a little unsure what it was based off of, but I felt that an element of the, like, body felt prawn-like enough. And then I think I only really learnt about mantis shrimp when I was, like, teenager, adult. But then knowing that, I'm like, oh, no, actually, I can see it kind of thing. I don't know. I think even if an element of what the inspiration was for Takodox, even if an element of that is confusing, I still think the design achieves a suitably like horrific, terrifying like visual appearance that like worked. That's just the way I look at it, though. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No, and story-wise, he's also very interesting because, as it turns out, spoiler alert, he is the traitor. He is the one that betrayed the League of Six Kingdoms and kind of messed their whole thing up, and he thought he could get away with it, and he definitely did not.
That's cool. I weirdly want to say that the glow-in-the-dark, even though, I mean, it was a gimmick that absolutely hooked me as a kid, but part of me wants to look at it now and be like, well, is it still as impressive? And I don't know what cynical part of me is trying to fight that. It's still just as cool as it was when I was a child. And I weirdly want to, like, put him very high up purely just because of the glow in the dark, but then I think everything else about him works. I remember as a kid being like, oh, I wish some of the unarmored sections were more armored, but as an adult, I love that. I think that adds so much. That little like spiddly design, it feels more skeletal, it feels more creepy. A lot works about this set. I'm thinking here, unless you disagree.
I think that totally works. I might even, like, if I were the one just solely making a list, I could see a good argument for him being top of A tier because of that glow-in-the-dark functionality. And we do see his pieces carry over in a couple of cool ways. We see the, surprisingly not the dagger pieces as much, but we do see his glow-in-the-dark parts get recolored in silver, and, no, actually I think it was just silver. But the headpiece gets recolored in that kind of, it gets recolored in white, and I want to say black and white marble?
Black and white marble was the dagger.
Oh, okay. So dagger did return.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think A tier in any capacity, I think, is appropriate.
Oh, and gunmetal, because Takanuva had it too.
Oh, snap. You're right. Yes.
Yeah. Those are all fantastic arguments. Thank you for saying them. I feel like all the reasons I'm hyping up Karapar for having really unique colors and it being super easy to use in a mock and stuff. Takodox does the same thing, and it glows in the dark. I think you're right. I didn't do it right. I think you're right. Takodox goes there because every reason these are good, Takodox just does it slightly better.
Yep. No, 100%.
Dang.
And you had mentioned, are we being objective or subjective with the list? Because I am totally down to be subjective. I got feelings and opinions.
We can do whatever we want. This is our list, and I want to hear your honest opinions.
Heck yeah. All right.
Speaking of which, Bohrok-Kal.
C tier.
Explain.
So the Bohrok-Kal. So fun fact, actually, Galak-Kal, the blue one, was my first Bionicle set.
Whoa. Okay.
Which is really funny, all things considered. You know, most people do not associate me with that set.
I just assumed you started from the beginning in 2001. Did you not?
See, I did not.
Wow.
I don't know the hard date that I started getting into Bionicle. It was either late 2002 or early 2003, because where I was living at the time got sets super early. I mean, like, I got the Stars, which were supposed to be 2010 sets, November of 2009.
What?
So, like, really, really in advance. So, I don't know. But yeah, no, Bohrok-Kal was my first set, and the Bohrok design, and of course we're going to get to the Bohrok right after this, is exceptional, and the Bohrok-Kal are carried by that design. However, man, I do not like the metallics. I feel it takes away so much of the just joyful aesthetic of early Bionicle. It makes them too much the same to each other. I don't like how the faceplate is now opaque, because it makes the holes in the faceplate look like eyes, and it always tripped me up whenever I look at them as a kid. It's like, oh, they're their eyes, they're beady, but no, they're supposed to be the giant, glowing spike things.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they're just, I had heard somewhere that, I think Greg had said that the Bohrok-Kal nearly completely demolished Bionicle, sales-wise.
Really?
Because, yes, they're Bohrok designs, which is great, but they are no different than a Bohrok, and in some ways less visually appealing. It took the Rahkshi to bring things back, and I'm sure the movie helped, but
yeah.
I don't have the citation on me right now. But
Sure.
Yeah,
It makes sense. Yeah.
Bohrok are great, but that's why I'd only put them in C tier. They're not bad because they're Bohrok. But
I get you.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm not inherently disagreeing, but I still have, and this is maybe where we get a little sentimental, I have the most vivid memory of finishing, I want to say it was like first grade or second grade, or like of class on one day. I was still in school, and going to the car, and my mum was like, here's the new Lego magazine. It's like all the new Lego sets. And that was that beautiful period in time where if the internet did exist, people weren't actively using it, and getting a Lego magazine or walking into the aisle was your first experience of whatever the new toys were. And it was beautiful because you got to see it all en masse, and it was like, oh my god, it's so cool. And there were no leaks, so you saw everything looking pretty, and the front cover of that specific manual, or a pamphlet, whatever you want to call it, book, had the Bohrok-Kal, had Tarnok-Kal. And I was like, yo, the Bohrok are back, and they're silver? And I remember looking over it and being like, dude, they look so sick. I love this. I can't wait to get them. And then, for whatever reason, this next bit of the story doesn't relate at all to why I like them, but I'm going to say it anyway, because it still applies. In Australia, I was able to buy every single Bohrok, except for the blue one and the brown one. And then that year, my family happened to take me and my brother to Orlando, Florida, and we went to Disney World. And while we were there, we were like, let's frickin' track down these Bohrok-Kal that I can't get so I can have the full set. And I couldn't find them anywhere. Not in Australia, not in the US. For years, I went without those two Bohrok-Kal. And I finally got them now as an adult, and it feels great. So I feel like I have so much sentimental attachment to them. But trying to separate it from that sentimental attachment, which I'm going to struggle with. I love the silver. I think it looks sick. I think I love that they distilled the color scheme down to just the core color, kind of removed the orange or the lime, and just stuck with the green and the red or whatever. And the silver and that very bright primary color looks so sick. Yes, if we're comparing them to the Bohrok, the originals are so much better. But I love this design. I think it's cool. I think everyone often overlooks it, and rightfully so. I agree with everything you said, that even apparently from a sales perspective, people were like, it's the same thing but silver. And sometimes the same thing but silver is something you could say about many Bionicle sets. We got a lot of silver. It does get boring over time.
Very true.
But in isolation and only looking at them as they are pretty cool, in my opinion. What do you think? Or do you still not like them as much?
I think that I feel really bad for keeping the blue Bohrok-Kal from you for so long.
You're the reason.
Clearly, that was my first, and then it was one of your last, and so I was like, I've been holding on to it. I'm sorry. And sentimentally, obviously, of course, first Bionicle set, period.
Sure.
Also, my first, and I think No, I have other misprints. My first misprint that I got naturally through a canister.
Whoa.
Because my stock Tanakh had the misprinted face print, where it has the, I think it's Bohrok-Kal's print design in red.
Oh.
So I think if we're talking sentimentality here, sentimental value, I would put them personally in B tier.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm a hard C tier on this one. But
God, that's...
I think considering we have so many stories with them, that counts for something.
This is true. Screw it, it's our list. We're putting him in B. Fight me.
Yeah, it's our list. Yeah.
Now, speaking of Bohrok,
easy.
Yeah, but I think the real question is
the Bahrag.
Okay, because that's what I was going to say. Do you think the queens are better than the underlings? I guess that's the word.
No. Bohrok are iconic. The Bohrok are such a classic Bionicle design. They are. I've heard people refer to them as the perfect toy.
Yep.
You build it. It can roll into a ball. It's got a little brain thing that makes you really want to toss that thing in your mouth gummy, but you shouldn't because it isn't.
Yeah.
They are quintessential Bionicle sets. Easy S tier.
Look, I agree. I am one of those people that have called them a perfect set. I do think they're the ultimate Bionicle set. I agree. There's something a part of me though, it's almost like Pokemon, where especially as a kid, where I'm like, but you get the early evolution and then it evolves into the cooler, bigger one. And I know that's not how this works. It's not like the Bohrok evolve into the Bohrok queens, but it almost feels like that, you know? If it was Pokemon, it would evolve into that. So part of me is like, no, the final evolution's cooler. And then I got older and I realized actually Bulbasaur's cooler than Venusaur. So you know what? I fully agree with that. Speaking of childhood memories, being in what I believe was first grade, then it must have been, and a kid came in with a Bohrok, and I think it was my first introduction to them. And they were like, yeah, look, you can put it in the canister and it rolls up into a ball and it does this. And I remember just looking at my mom and being like, yo, why don't I have this already? You know, this is so cool, you know. There's nothing bad about those sets. Yeah, I don't think we'll find anything that beats that unless... Well, actually, look, if there's something that potentially it could be Brutaka. I'm very keen to hear your thoughts, but I have another story with Brutaka.
Ooh, do tell.
I remember seeing him in magazines before he came out and being like, yo, he's all gold. They're using the Piraka foot piece as a claw. He's got this sick double-sided blade. He's got a cool mask. Everything about him is so sick. And I could just feel this energy of just this is the toy of the year. This is... Everyone's going to want this. This is the coolest Bionicle ever. And then everyone else is like, yeah, Brutaka is so sick. And for the longest time, I always kind of remembered this feeling of just there isn't a better Bionicle toy than Brutaka. And I think that's changed over time. I think people like Gadunka, people like all sorts of stuff. But for the longest time, I always thought he was the coolest frickin' Bionicle. Does he have 4 arms? Does he just have pop-out weapons? It's a great question. All in all, I think he's so freaking sick, and even now I love him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's better than the Bohrok, but I would put him in S tier. I think he's so cool. And I know we kind of eventually got a lot of abusage of gold in the same way we got a lot of silver, and gold started to feel a little less important, but this was just right in that nice period of time where it still felt special, and I love that. So to me, Brutaka's another perfect Bionicle set. Great as a kid, great as an adult, but what do you think?
I agree. I think Brutaka is a really great set. I remember Patrick Biggs.
Mm-hmm.
He notably, he shared an opinion many years ago that Brutaka is aesthetically a bit of a mess. He takes a lot of different parts and kind of mushes them together. And I think that's a really good point. I hadn't really picked up on that until Patrick had said that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. And honestly, I can overlook that so easily, because to me, it's this hulking mass of pieces, and it's got a striking color scheme. Pearl gold and dark blue just looks awesome. It's a wonderful color scheme. He's big, he's imposing, he's got a great build to him. He feels like such a solid figure. So to me, I can easily agree. S tier. I'm a sucker for functions, so I don't know if I'd put him above the Bahrag, but I also wouldn't be upset if he was placed there, because he's really good. He's awesome. Looks great.
Yeah, I agree. Like, ironically, as a kid, like a lot of it depended on the play feature, but like early on when I would play with like the Toamata and stuff, I would take the gears out. I didn't like them as a kid. It varied. I had phases where I was like, actually, this is cool and I want to do it, and then other phases where I was like, I just want them to stand still. But like a gear function instantly makes a set better, and unfortunately he doesn't have that. And not that he needs a gear function, any form of function will make him cool. If I had to fault the set, yes, those pop-out weapon things, I really don't know how I feel about them. It's not much of a feature. So yeah, I wouldn't put him above the others.
They are kind of random.
Yeah, but they look cool when they're stowed together. I think it looks like a nice back design if you ignore that they pop out.
Yeah.
But he's cool, but he's definitely not better than the other two, I think, anyway.
I think that's fair.
That makes me happy. He's where he deserves to be. Nivok and Turaga Doom. That was a heavy sigh. Not what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, so this it's not a bad set.
Sure.
It is a little bit of a weird set, because Turaga Doom, he makes his only, Turaga Duma, he makes his only set appearance in this. Mm-hmm. And despite being a Turaga, he uses a Metru Matoran build. The mask he uses is really nice. Mm-hmm. We see it again in the future in 2 other colors. And I am glad that we got Metru parts in Mata colors, because his Matoran torso is in Mata red, which is nice. That being the case, I never felt too heavily attached to this one. Not for any specific reason. Like, I always love getting extra Rahi, and he sits in there fine. It just, nothing about this set has ever, like, jumped out and been like, hey, this is great. The color scheme isn't really my cup of tea. The set is patently fine. The function is great, but after, like, tinkering with it for a little bit, like, I feel like I've gotten all I can out of it. It didn't have a lot of stay value in my mind.
I was expecting with this tier list that we'd be at each other's throats. We'd have very different opinions, but every word that comes out of your mouth, I'm like, LJ, I completely agree with you. I picked him up recently, like, not bought him, I just held him because I'm cleaning and I was moving Nivok and all them around. And I messed around with the little wing poppy in and out feature, which is so much fun. But
it is.
I do agree with you. He kind of feels a little stale. Like, he's nowhere near as exciting as, like, Nadiki and Krika. Like, Duma. Wait, very quickly, can you explain that to me? I feel like I've just forgotten about it or whatever. I always thought he was just Doom, and then the other day I heard someone say Duma, and then I was like, whoa, that's a thing? I thought it was just Doom. What am I missing there?
Yep, no, it is, according to the Bionicle Encyclopedia, it is pronounced Duma. And that is how they say it in the movie as well, Turaga Duma.
Wow, I am now somehow forgetting that. Wow.
Because, Doom does make more sense, and also, I don't know why they're going Duma with an E.
Yeah.
But, I mean, pronounce it however you prefer.
Yeah, gotcha. Anyway, yeah, it makes sense if he's Doom. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So, I think the biggest thing that makes me like this set less is how freaking good Nivok looked in the movie, because he's almost got more of a, like, purple hue, and, like, the way its body moves and bends, whereas this is a very rigid toy. At least the, like, back, like, there's zero movement there, and it kind of needs that so that Duma can be inside. I don't know, I think I just look at how he looked in the movie and I'm like, oh, that's so much cooler, and I wish the toy was like that. I don't know. Yeah, that being said, yes, I agree with everything you said about the colors on Duma. I agree with the play feature being great, but I feel like it just gets old quickly, unfortunately. B?
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I feel like I would enjoy tinkering with, like, a Bohrok-Kal more than I would Nivok and Duma.
Yeah.
Like, I get more enjoyment out of tinkering with the Bohrok-Kal than I do. Like, I pick up Nivok and Duma. Oh, that was another thing. The leg construction, nice idea, but wow, is it easy to disassemble when you do not want to. Because it's connected with those joint pieces that have the axle going straight out, and there's nothing to, like, lock them in. There's no bracket to lock them in.
Right.
So if you extend the leg, you can just completely shear off a leg very easily.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel happy with that. Like, Part of me wants to put him in C because I feel like we were giving a lot of good arguments about like it's just okay, but it's still a big bird. And I agree with what you said about the Rahi thing. Like, Rahi are such beautiful parts of the Bionicle story, and anytime we get it, it always makes me happy. So I'm happy to bump him up a little bit there because of that.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely, like, if it were me alone, I would put him in C, but I think you make a really good point there.
We'll keep him in there. We can always move him later if we need to.
True.
Apparently we hate no Bionicle sets, because this D is looking quite empty. I'm sure there'll be
That's
more.
okay. We've
still
some
got
characters coming up that I can think of.
Oh, okay. Well, Firo and Skirmix, is that one of those characters?
Not a D tier. I would definitely put him in B above Duma and Nivok, because dag nabbit, I am a goofy sucker for a Bionicle dinosaur, and that's exactly what Skirmix is.
Fair, yeah. Although it's funny, when this set first came out, I remember looking at it and being like, oh, it's the Cardiff Dragon's mask, but they put a weird goofy jaw on it that doesn't look anywhere near as good as it did on the Cardiff Dragon or Fernac. I remember looking at Firo and being like, the mask, and being like, oh, it's just a Skrull mask, and then looking at the weapon and being like, oh, it's the same in Lime like we've seen on Tuma, and then we'll see later in the Stars set. And I remember being like, I kind of wish that they'd given this set the glow-in-the-dark Skrull weapon and not Atticus. And I wish they'd almost used Atticus's mask on this guy, because like logistically he was a bone hunter, and Atticus, please correct me if I'm wrong here, I thought Atticus was part of the Skrull tribe, and to me it made more sense that they would have the same mask because they're part of the same race, and the bone hunter would have the different mask, and then subsequently it makes sense that he might have a slightly different weapon. So part of me was always a little kind of like about that like design choice. I don't know, as a kid this set really didn't excite me, and it was one of the ones I didn't pick up. And then as an adult I got it later, and I was like, oh, this is cool as heck. And all the faults that I had with it before, I was like, I'm okay with them now. I still kind of agree about the mask and the weapon, but ultimately I'm like, no, this is a cool set. And yes, Bionicle Dinosaur, love it. Wish Bionicle had continued and we got those rumored Bionicle Dinosaur sets, because hot dang. But this is enough to satiate me, you know. You were saying putting it here.
That's where I personally would put it, because I think that the set like Skirmix, I think looks good enough and is cool as a concept enough to warrant his placement there. I agree kind of with what you were saying about the parts usage not looking as good compared to previous sets that would use the same pieces.
Yeah.
And it's really funny that you say that about Pharaoh, because in the Legend Reborn, that is exactly what they do. All of the bone hunters in the movie are just Atticus.
Huh.
Literally, like, glowing sword and all.
Yeah.
Pharaoh is the only one that looks that way.
It's wild.
So, and Pharaoh, I don't like Pharaoh. I don't think, like, is Duma technically... It's funny how similar these sets are, but for different reasons to me.
Actually.
Because I like the steed. I like Skirmix better than I like Nivok, but I like Duma more than I like Pharaoh.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to make an argument and be like, I actually think I was going to put him here. I still think he's a better character, Akmu, but I just love, like, steed and rider as an aesthetic. It's so cool. And dinosaur. But I also remember the fact that this is the era of brittle joints, and the one I have has so many broken joints, and for that I'm like, I'm moving him down. I think I kind of want to keep him where you've kept him. I feel bad because this has a cool play feature and this doesn't, though. Is that enough to sway you?
It has the Thornax launcher.
True. I still feel like the wings are better than the Thornax launcher, especially because a lot of other characters have that.
That's fair. Yeah, that's reasonable.
Maybe I feel bad because I really like this set. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, they are like neck and neck.
Yes.
I think you could go either way. I think that's totally reasonable.
Yeah. Well, we are moving to a different era. Gorast.
We're still in the era of brittle joints. We've moved on from line joint disease and just moved on to a general joint disease. Gorast is an interesting one, because like it's a really cool idea. Technically, I think I should dislike it on the principle of it being very mosquito-like, and I don't know anyone that likes mosquitoes, but it's a cool idea. The wing pieces, the blades, those are really cool pieces. Just the kind of holographic nature they have to them. They're just awesome. I think Gorast also has some cool pieces, like the blade pieces she has, both types of blade piece, that one of which get used as a foot piece.
Mm-hmm.
Gorast's color scheme is fine. Lime and black is great, but it's really broken up by that dark gray torso. The mask has such limited application in terms of like creating other characters because it's so hyper specific to her. The limb choice makes posing kind of difficult and awkward, especially with that Ninra Ghost Blaster on that one hand. So Gorast is not one of my favorite Makuta. I would personally put her in C tier.
It's annoying because I love the design. I don't have any real complaints about her. The wings are so cool, and it's great that we got them again in Hero Factory. I feel a very similar way to kind of what I was saying with Mantax, where there's something a little forgettable about the design. And also something too, because like I was raving on about the skinny limbs of Takodox, and that works. It feels creepy, it feels cool. And there's very similar designs happening here with very like thin, spiddly limbs. And in my opinion, I don't know, it just doesn't work on this set. And I'm trying to figure out why I think that, because really they're not that different. But I don't know, something about it felt a little more unfinished on this. I kind of want to agree with you and put it in C. I feel like Pradak's better. Oh, I'm sorry, Gorast. I really like you, but I don't know. Yeah.
Kind of dancing on that as well. It's like Pradak, Gorast, but I definitely think Pradak, but ever so slightly.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I want to like more about the set, but
I feel bad, LJ. I don't want to be mean to my children, you know?
And yet, here we are. We're working at the being mean to the children factory, and Bionicle, it's filling this factory.
I have big thoughts about this set, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Icarax. So, Icarax is fascinating to me for a handful of reasons. Obviously, we see the return of the Krika for the first time since, I want to say 2003. So it's been a minute. This set feels very much to me like they wanted to make a Pterodax set, but had bigger plans for Pterodax. So we kind of got a leftover Pterodax set. And it's not the worst, but man, to me, this is such an unmemorable set. It's an unmemorable character. Icarax just wants to be the next head of the Brotherhood of Makuta. He wants to mess Pterodax up. He's like, ooh, I got your mask. Ooh, I'm sitting in your throne. Ooh, you're gonna need to have me help you. Oh, yep, I'm here now. And then he just gets stomped. And so I never think back on Icarax and I'm like, wow, what a cool set. What a cool character. He's very forgettable to me. So I don't, like, to me, he is also C tier.
Interesting. My experience with the set, and then I've got more childhood stories here. I remember I was on holiday with my parents somewhere. I think we were in America somewhere, but I don't know where we were in America. But it was late. We were driving, and we pulled over somewhere. I think we were going somewhere to eat, and there was a Toys R Us like across the way from where we were eating, and I was like, oh, but can we go to Toys R Us? And in my head, I was like, I really want to buy Icarax. I don't have him yet. And they were like, well, let's eat and then we can go over. And the whole time we were eating, I was thinking about the set. And then we go over. And I remember like kind of walking in and being like, why are there no like lights on in the store? Like it's open, like I can go in, like what's happening? And then like these two employees like stopped us at the door and they're like, sorry, like there's been a fire, like you can't come in. And I remember looking at the shelves and being like, what fire? And I was like, oh, okay. And I think maybe I could smell a little bit of like burning, but it was nothing like intense. And I remember kind of being like, I'll buy a burnt Icarax box as long as the like contents inside are good. Like, you know, I'll help you like get some money back so you can fix the store, you know. But I was also a kid and was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, like I'll leave. And then I never got Icarax. And with what you were saying of like he feels like he could have been Pterodax. As a kid, I never bought the original Pterodax set, which we'll talk about a bit later. And I wanted him so bad, especially because like one of the biggest ways I would play as a kid is I'd always want to have the main good guy and the main bad guy and a lot of my playing kind of stemmed around that. And so it was always like tough to be like, well, I don't have Pterodax. Like, what do I do? And I was like, I'll buy Icarax and I'll just pretend he's Pterodax. Like, I don't know who this Icarax dude is. Like, this will be my Pterodax that I can play with. And then I was never able to fulfill that, And then not long ago, I was at Brick Fair, Virginia, and I saw an Icarax for sale. And I was like, I can finally get him. And then someone like stopped me and was like, Ben, like, there's no exclusive pieces in that set. You don't need to do that. You can just use the pieces in your collection and build them. And I was like, oh, you're right. I'll do that. And thankfully I had the mask, because I learned later that the mask is technically a different color. Technically. And then I built him and I was like, hey, years of like wanting this set. It's going to feel so cool. I'm going to finish him and he's going to be great. And it was one of the biggest letdowns I'd ever had in a Bionicle set. He is...
Yep.
His weapons, I remember thinking, look so cool. They pose so awkwardly and so weird.
Yep.
The construction isn't that exciting. Like, yes, the mask is cool. Yes, he's an okay enough design. Yes, it poses to some degree, but like it upset me so much that it wasn't a great set because I built it up in my head. So like, honestly, I would be okay with putting him in D tier. But
snap, our first D tier?
I wouldn't be against it. But I also am not against putting him in C because the wings are cool. He has that Kraken mask, which is always awesome.
Yeah. And
like, I started that thinking there'd be at least 3 points. That's kind of it. But he's still...
I think the Tridax pod in his chest.
Sure. I was really trying to build that argument up to be like, no, there's reasons to put him in C. But the more I'm talking, I'm like, nah, actually, I don't know. I'm still bitter about that set not being as cool as I built it up to be.
That's so funny. I think his weapon is cool. It is a gear function.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you turn the gear, it swings around.
Yeah.
To me, this isn't like... He's not an awful set, but you're right. He has no exclusive pieces. I mean, outside of the mask.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
But he's definitely like... Oh, gosh. Let me just check something. Yeah, okay. So he is a Toys R Us exclusive. He has no exclusive parts to him, which reminds me of another set that I don't see him on this tier list, but it's very similar to Umbra.
I was just going to bring this up. We're on the same wavelength.
Yep.
Continue. Yeah.
Yep. Heck yeah.
Yep.
No, Umbra was a Walmart exclusive. Also no exclusive pieces. Also a set I don't look back on and go, oh man, I'm so glad that exists.
Oh, see, this is where I would debate you. I love Umbra.
Really?
Yes, I respect that everything you said, that he has no exclusive pieces, and like especially like that mask. Why wasn't it like dark green or something? That would have been so cool, and it would have.
Yes.
But because I did a review on Umbra and Icarax, and I posted them very close to each other, and I made reference to both those sets within the videos because I built them at the same time. And to me, Umbra, for both the sets have essentially no exclusive pieces, but Umbra manages to find ways to make those old pieces feel fun. Giving roller skates to a Bionicle is the coolest freaking thing ever and is so much fun to play with. Getting those multicolored staffs is sick. It reminded me of Anakin Skywalker in Attack of the Clones in that brief moment he's fighting Dooku and he gets a blue and a green lightsaber. And as a kid, I was like, that's the coolest freaking thing in the world. And it reminds me of that because it's like, cool, the two colors together. And then also putting them on a staff. Sick. Getting the Ratuka spinner and also putting it on the staff. Sick. Getting the orange, Keats orange Pahatu claws and making them shoulder pads. Sick. Icarax did none of that. He took all those existing pieces and really didn't do much with them to make them feel like more exciting. Whereas I love that Umbra managed to find ways to make those old pieces feel fun. I'm getting emotional, as you can see. It's not the dust in my room that I just need to get rid of. To me, that's the distinction, and that's one of the reasons that I'm like disappointed in this set. I wish it found a few more ways to spice up those older parts. I don't know what you think.
I think you have made a beautiful argument for Umbra.
Thank you.
Like, everything you've said, I think is extremely valid, and I think that's a wonderful way of looking at Umbra, and I really can't disagree. I think to me, Umbra was never a set I gravitated toward too much. Like, as a kid, fun for sure. Like, as the years have gone on, I've always thought, well, this set kind of looks... kind of how I felt about the Voyatorn for the longest time.
Oh, yeah.
There are a lot of parts being used here that I can just get in my parts bin. There's nothing that terribly excites me. And with time, I've kind of come to the belief that, well, that's not really a bad thing, because that makes that set really accessible if you already have those pieces. So you can experience that even if like you're not in a position to acquire that set, you know, in the nifty box that LEGO sells it in. And I think that argument for Umbra that you made, that is a really compelling reason as to why Icarax deserves a low score, because he is very disappointing.
Yeah.
He's just very forgettable.
Yeah. I feel like people might be upset that I've put him there. I'm sorry. I'm also not sorry. Antros.
Love Antros. Antros is kind of a cool character. He's the second in command of the Brotherhood Makuta.
So weird.
He's kind of the squad leader in 2008. And I think he doesn't do anything crazy revolutionary, but he's just cool. He's just plainly cool. The mask is cool. The color scheme works, of course. The wing pieces are awesome. The curved blade pieces are really sick.
Yeah.
He's not super complex, but he's nifty.
Yeah. I love Antros. I think whenever I think of a Makuta, I think of him. I think that everything that makes a Makuta good, he like distills into his design. Like, when I think of a Makuta, I think of spiky, evil, sinister. Just like visually you look at them and you're like, that's a bad guy. And I look at Antros, I'm like, he's a bad guy. I think that all of the parts design, all of the like sharpness of his weapons and the like piercing qualities of his spikes, all of that feels so quintessentially Makuta, and I love that. And like, I don't know if he's cooler than the Barraki, but honestly, like, I would put him in like decently high within the A tier. I know he's at the end of the A tier, but I think that he'll remain there and others will go behind him later, because everything this set does, it does very well.
Yep. I have no strong issues or complaints with that. I like Antros. He's one of my favorite Makuta.
Sick. What do you think of Chirox?
Not one of my favorite Makuta.
We're gonna have a fight.
Fine.
Continue.
Okay, all right. You know what? Yeah, let's go. Roll up my sleeves. Kirox is patently fine in my eyes, but he always struck me as kind of awkward. Like, I like how all the Makuta have, if not clear modes of flight, then at least modes where you can kind of like, if you read into the story, you can kind of suspend your disbelief a little bit.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Kirox's long arms and then the wings that jut off of the arms felt really strange to me. And like, I like the idea of the arms folding up kind of like large wings, but I feel like if the wings had been more in line with the arms instead of jutting off of them, I would feel a lot more favorably about Kirox. Other than that, like, he's got those really odd proportions, and the blade piece, while cool, always felt super awkward to me.
Interesting. I love what you said, but I disagree. One of the things I love so much about the Makuta is, and it was never really necessarily expressed in any of the sets, the idea that they are shapeshifters, that they can change their form and evolve and change and stuff like that. And I think this is one of the sets that best depicts that over anything else. The arms sort of changing and moving, and the fact that they become quite long and gangly and strange. I can't help but visualize like a sort of liquid metal, or like a symbiote in Spider-Man turning into some sort of like liquid and then like forming into a brand new shape. And that's always how I've seen this. I think this strange amorphous form that he has is so quintessentially Makuta. And weirdly also kind of works on this bat-like creature and this wing design that can kind of fold up and stuff like that. I've always loved that. That's always a sort of mental image I've had of him. Perhaps you or other people will see him as a little more solid and organic and bat-like, and then that aesthetic doesn't really sort of work for you, and that's fair. I've always really liked that. And also I think just these bat Makuta from Fantoka, I think the bat aesthetic works so well for Makuta, and especially him being sort of all black, and even the sort of little like fangs on his mask, I think he just works so well within that aesthetic. I really like him.
No, I think that's all entirely fair. I like him more than I like Vamprah, not because Vamprah is bad by any stretch.
Yeah.
Just because like I'm far more partial to Kirox's design than I am Vamprah's design. Just a personal preference.
I get that.
So it's difficult, but like I always really liked seeing him in stuff, if that makes sense. Like tinkering with the set was never the most enjoyable to me.
Okay.
But he has a really cool appearance, and like all the shots of him fighting Liwa or fighting any other character, like they always looked very cool.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna put him on the tier list, and then you can agree or disagree. I'm thinking here. Early on, you were saying you really don't like him. Are you anticipating them being lower?
I would probably, because he's definitely like he's far more memorable than I think the other characters in B. I would put him high B, like probably above the others. But low A, I think could work for him.
Okay.
I don't like personally. I don't see him as like an A tier set, but low A, high B. I think I can certainly see the arguments for it.
Fairer. Okay. Well, I'll leave him there. We can always revise, but it feels like we have a rough similar position enough. That's probably the most we've debated on one, which is exciting. But
there we go. Finally, friction.
Well, speaking of, I don't have a transition. Krika.
So, I gotta say, I don't know if Krika's good enough for S tier, but high A tier easily. The character,
yes,
so interesting.
Yeah, yes.
Like, not only is it an interesting character in the story, like someone that's almost regretful of what the Makuta are doing in Kardanui, someone that tries to sympathize and tries to help an opponent, but there are arguably fewer, more striking standout designs than Krika on this list.
Yes.
He is just so cool and such a unique look for the Bionicle world. There's more to say, I'm sure, but yeah, no, Krika easy A tier, easy.
The only reason it's not in S tier right now is what you said before about like function, and part of me is like, oh, it'd be so cool if there was like a sneaky gear function in this or something. Almost honorable S tier for this because it's so freaking close to it. I love what you said about like the sort of like respect, I guess you could say, that Krika has for their enemies and stuff. If you thought that I would go through this video without making a One Piece reference, you were wrong. The comparison I want to make with a One Piece character to Krika, Krika is to Katakuri as I don't know how to finish that sentence, it's 1 o'clock, but I almost look at this from a very similar light to Katakuri, with the levels of like respect for your opponent and also just sick visual design. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I have now
I actually think that's a wonderful comparison. Like,
yeah,
he is if the Makuta, the Brotherhood of Makuta were the Big Mom Pirates, then yes, Krika is Katakuri easily.
Beautiful. I love that. I will quickly sing a little bit more of the praise because I think we're essentially on the same wavelength here. Another kind of one-off color for this set, for the most part, kind of appeared in other sets, but that milky white with red mixed through it is so freaking beautiful. And the amount of people I see using that in mocks, even still to this day, a color that you'd think would be very difficult to use because it is a weird tone, but like it still inspires people so much. And the fact that, again, kind of similar to Pridak, it looks like blood, but it also looks so like skeletal. It's so gnarly. It's such a sick aesthetic. Everything about this set is so terrifying and beautiful and phenomenal.
Yeah, 100%. Such a good set. Really great character.
Yeah. Vamprah.
Vamprah is not the most memorable character. Like, Vamprah does a weird thing where he doesn't speak except for telepathically. So he will talk to someone in their mind, but he is otherwise mute.
Huh.
And I might be misremembering that. Okay, no. Here we go. Yes. Vamprah, according to BS01, Vamprah dislikes speaking as well, for he found it to be unnecessary noise and impeded his hunting ability, instead communicating through telepathy when necessary.
Gotcha.
That is somewhat interesting. I feel like it would have been more interesting if they just hard committed to he can't talk at all.
Yeah, I agree.
As opposed to just not wanting to. The set is fine. I'm less interested. He pulls off the bat look super well. Like, he looks like a vampire bat. That's just not a design choice that really I gravitate toward.
I agree.
So it's totally fine. They pulled off well, but it's not one of my favorites. It was never, as a kid, it was never one that I enjoyed messing around with.
I agree. This feels a little biased, but I kind of get the sense you're going to think the same thing. I, at least at the age I am now, I'm someone that likes to have my Bionicles on display. Mm-hmm. It can often be very difficult with certain Bionicle sets, or any Lego set, where they come in weird shapes and sizes, and suddenly the very strict way you have of displaying them gets ruined because you're like, oh, I now have to accommodate this entirely new body shape. And for me, I have a lot of acrylic stands and stuff that have steps on them and stuff, and it's perfect for Toa to stand on. Then you get Vamprah and you're like, how do I accommodate this? So part of me kind of looks on a design like this and is a bit like, and yet I just said Krika was peak for having a very sort of somewhat similar design, so hey, But yes, I agree with you. I don't necessarily gravitate towards that because sometimes it feels a bit sort of awkward, and sometimes it can affect the posability as well, I think. But given that the whole point of these three villains was that bat aesthetic, yes, this is a pretty much perfect way to represent that. It is good. Part of me thinks I could debate this further. I almost feel like they kind of just go in an order like that, but I also kind of maybe want to drop it down to B. How do you feel?
Yeah, this is a B tier to me.
Okay.
I don't see him as an A tier. He's not an outstanding set in my eyes. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the variation in body types and body styles.
I agree.
When it comes to Bionicle characters, I can appreciate it, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily my preference. So I would put, this might be a bit of a hot take, I would put Vamprah after Akmu, before Kalma.
I agree. I'm also I'm on Team Akmu, man. From the start of this list, I was like, oh, Akmu is going to be D tier. Incorrect. Akmu is one of the best characters on this list from a character perspective.
He's great.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed that up. It was that.
I mean, that also would have been fine. Top of B tier. I don't think that's necessarily wrong because Vamprah is a fine set. There's nothing wrong about Vamprah.
No, I'm Team Akmu.
And the mask is really cool.
Absolutely.
The Avsa is a really good design.
To be fair, yeah, beautiful mask. The dark blue sword pieces for the feet. Even getting the wings in gunmetal rather than black. There was some good stuff here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm happy with that.
No, 100%.
Who is this?
So this is my D tier. I would put him in D tier.
Okay.
This is Karzahni.
Oh, okay. Is that from a video game? Because there's text at the bottom of the screen. I don't think I've played this game.
Yes, it is in fact. So it's from a video game and a book, but the game is based off of the book. So this is Karzahni. He had 2 appearances. Well, okay, he had more than 2 appearances, but he first appeared in Bionicle Adventure 6, Maze of Shadows.
Okay.
And that is also the game he gets visualized in, which is Bionicle Maze of Shadows.
Gotcha.
And it's that kind of top-down, almost Metroid kind of game where you fight a bunch of different. You have like Pokemon battles with a bunch of Rahi.
Okay.
So Karzahni in the story is a prototype of the Morbuzakh created by Pterodax. However, Pterodax was like, no, this isn't going to work, because he gave Karzahni a significant amount of sentience, and it became too willful, according to BS1. That's the word they use, and that's technically correct. So basically, Pterodax couldn't really easily control this. So he condemned it to like a whole bunch of like underground caves and tunnels. And then the Toa ran into Karzahni and acquired a vial of energized protodermis for it, because it's like, I want to transform, that'd be super cool. So Karzahni gets this vial of energized protodermis, drenches himself in it, and dies because he was not destined to transform. So the Toa take a whole bunch of logs built out of slicing him up, and they use it to give buoyancy to one of the ships that they use to get back to Matanui.
Wow. That's savage. Okay.
Or, I guess, no, sorry, not Matanui, Metronui.
Yeah, sure, yeah, okay.
My bad, they were headed back to Metronui.
Right. So how is that, how does he come back? Or is this like Karzahni 2? Like, I'm very unfamiliar with this, apparently.
Yeah, no, that's his only interaction in the story.
Huh.
That is like, as far as I know, because BS1 is saying he has appearances in Web of the Vizirac and Time Trap. Time Trap, that makes sense. Web of the Vizirac, I don't remember his appearance in that. But no, he dies in Maze of Shadows. Right. His first appearance is his last appearance in terms of canonically living. He inadvertently killed himself with the energized protodermis.
Right.
I do not like Karzahni because he's just... Why is he named Karzahni? That's not a good choice. It just makes things... Now we have 3 unnecessarily. We have the guy, the place, and the plant.
Yeah.
This is not a memorable villain by any stretch of the imagination. The whole situation he's involved in, to me, feels very contrived. Nokama gets poisoned, so they have to save her, and Karzahni is the only one that has the antidote to save her. And it just, I don't know. I don't like it. I think this character is a hardcore D tier.
Look, I knew nothing about this going in, and you giving me the full rundown of the story. I don't feel much about it now, and I'm personally a massive, I worded that wrong. I'm not a massive fan of any story where they're like, here's a character, they're the same name as another character. You're like, that's just confusing. So I will say D. Also, big D, because bro doesn't even have a set. So, that sucks.
Sure.
So from Karzahni to Karzahni.
Yes. So, I noticed they used the picture for comic Karzahni.
Yes.
Or comic in air quotes. And this is funny for a few reasons. One, Karzahni does have a set. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. But this picture of Karzahni, it comes from it's more or less an encyclopedia of sorts.
Okay.
It is called Bionicle World, and it really fleshes out the visuals of the world of Bionicle, of like the Matoran universe and whatnot. It's a really cool book. I love it. This is the first time we get to see Karzahni prior to his mutation in 2007, and this piece of artwork is almost entirely ripped off from another piece of artwork.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll have to find it. It's gonna take some digging. It's I don't want to say it's traced, but I'll show it to you later.
Yeah, cool. I'll probably put a picture up.
Yeah, no, I would highly encourage it. It's pretty blatant.
Interesting.
But yeah, this design is whatever to me. It's been mocked, as in like created by fans several times, and that's excellent. That's very cool, of course. I don't have any like really strong opinions about this iteration of Karzahni.
I agree. If I'm honest, I know enough about Karzahni as a character, but for whatever reason, as a kid, other than the set, I kind of just always never really engaged with Karzahni that much. The stories that I was looking into, the comics that I was reading, all of that stuff he never came up. I remember reading about him later on the wikis and stuff, like I know enough about him, but like he's always been a character that's been a little forgettable for me because I need to do like another deep dive into the story and like really hardcore read stuff. In fact, today this guy messaged me and was like, hey, do you want my old Bionicle books? You can have them. And I was like, absolutely. So at some point I will sit down and read them properly and like really like deep dive into the story, and I'll get all on board with Karzahni. But as a kid, I kind of didn't even really know he existed until I was a bit older. So I've always been a bit sort of like iffy about him as a character because I just don't know a lot about him. But I've always enjoyed seeing people make mocks of this visual look, 3D printing that mask, whatever. It's always looked nice. Like, again, this is so different because they're showing that image. If this was the set, it might be a little different. But I feel like he's pretty middle of the road because I feel like I just don't know enough about him, and he's cool enough, but like, you know? I don't know if you disagree.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. His character is, you know, he's kind of cuckoo. He's extremely reclusive. He doesn't know a lot about the outside world, and then he finds out about it, and it kind of freaks him out a great deal. And so he comes out into the world, and the world does not have it with him. He does not have a good time very quickly after being reintroduced. So his character is nothing like mind-blowing to me.
Okay.
The Karzahni set is weird. Like the set itself, it's just kind of strange. It's a great parts pack.
Absolutely.
Like the actual pieces, the recolors, it's just awesome.
I agree. I wish it wasn't so expensive today.
It was when I was doing my reviews, the original series of reviews. Mm-hmm. Karzahni was the most expensive set for me to buy. It was the only Bionicle set I had to buy from overseas.
Oh yeah.
And it cost me I'm gonna say this is gonna be mind-blowing because to me this was an outrageous price for me to spend.
Yeah.
I paid $80 for Karzahni, and I bought him from the United Kingdom.
Yeah. Was that sealed or used?
Used.
Okay. Still, that's crazy. Because like, well, the last time I saw him for sale was a sealed one for like $3,000 in an Australian convention. That's wild. I remember buying a trans yellow cow on Bricklink like probably 2012, 2013. And I remember paying $11 for that mask and being like, God, this is so much money for one piece. Like, I don't know if I should be doing this. Oh, and now that's like $300 or something crazy. It's ludicrous. The Bionicle aftermarket. $80 is pretty good.
It's insane. Yeah, no, it worked out. But yeah, no, Karzahni, nothing that I'd write home about. I think end of B tier is fine. Yeah, I could even see like end of C tier, but I don't feel super strongly about it.
I agree. But things I feel strongly about. Krika.
This might be a hot take. I think C tier.
Whoa, okay, go on. Explain.
Yeah, no.
Justify.
Krika. When I originally got the set, I don't really remember him, but when I re-got the set for my reviews, I remember running into a bunch of like weird issues with him. It just like I would tinker with the set and it would just be very like clunky parts that whenever I'd execute a function, things would get like stuck together or they'd rub up against other parts that it wasn't supposed to. And it was just kind of difficult to toy with.
Yeah.
And he's kind of a big dumb brute character. He's just, you know, Nadiki.
Yeah.
Good Nadiki. Oh, I think they went that way. Like, it just, he's not interesting to me at all.
Okay.
Which is why it makes sense to me that the entire Krika species are just functionally bodyguards. They don't do a whole lot of complex stuff. So the character's not interesting. The set, the color scheme's really nice. I think the actual look of the set is really good. But the last time I interacted with it, it didn't inspire me with like, oh wow, this is so good.
I get you. I've never had any issues with it, like of pieces rubbing up against each other or any sort of stuff like that. I actually loved him in the movie. I remember as a kid thinking he was really funny. I understand it is still a very one-dimensional character trope of just he's dumb guy. Comparing that to like other hulking brute characters like we were talking about before, I think there was something that felt more charming about it because I was able to visually see it in the movie. And that's why maybe I kind of empathize with it a little bit more or like enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know. I to be fair, actually, this is another one like Nivork, how I was saying before, that Nivork looks so much better in the movie compared to the set. This is another one where the visual look in the movie is similar but pretty different. And I think I enjoy how he looks in the movie a bit more, but I still love the set. I don't know. I don't. Part of me wanted to really defend him because I really like this set. But I also feel like I don't have much of an argument. I just kind of like him, and I don't know how much that's just purely nostalgia.
No, I think that's super valid, though.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
But I don't think there's anything inherently bad about the set. I understand if you had problems with it moving and the functions and all that sort of stuff.
I also could have misbuilt it or misused it somehow. Like, that could have been a user error problem.
Yeah. Alright, well, just taking it through. He's definitely not S tier. He could be, like, end of A tier for me, maybe, but I feel like he's more likely in B. I feel like I would put him over Mantax.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's a safe place for him.
Yeah.
I do not have any issues with that.
I don't think he's better than any of the other sets that are behind him.
Yeah, no, I like that.
Bittle.
I like Bittle.
I like Bittle.
Bittle is just super quaint. This is also the first time we see Yellow make a comeback in Bionicle sets since, I think, 2003 with Jala. Like, it's been a minute. And we get, like, substantial parts in Yellow.
Yeah.
Vizorak / Rahkshi legs. So that's super cool. I think the mask is cool. Beetles are awesome. All the parts really work. He's not technically complex.
No.
And certainly not one of the more technically complex Kuda. But like me personally, I like him more than Kirox. I just think he's got a really standout look. He's very, very sharp. He's cool. I like him.
Yeah. I love his mask power. If I had to do a tier list of mask powers, Biddles would be pretty high. He's got that Naruto double team kind of copy power thing, and I've always loved that. I always think that's cool. I do love the yellow. I loved yellow a lot as a kid, so that was exciting for me. I kind of can't get past his limbs though. Like, yes, it's nice to get some of those recolors, but I remember even as a kid building it and being like, this feels a little simplistic. I did like the wings. Using those Axelara shield pieces for wings was cool. The weapons are fun, the mask is great, but I don't know, those limbs don't quite do it for me. I understand they're deliberately simplistic because he's a bug, they're kind of a bit more spiddly because of that, but again, I think Takodox does it better. So you were saying here?
I would kind of personally put him there, but I would have also, like, put Kirox in B, so, like, if it were me, I would probably put both of them in B, but at the very least, I would put him ahead of Kirox. But I also don't feel super strongly about that. Because again, his character, he doesn't have a standout character in my eyes.
Yeah.
So, like, he's not very interesting character-wise. And funny you mentioned the mask. I really don't like the mask power.
Wow.
And it's just because it is a major inconsistency with the way that Bionicle interacts with time. Like, the Vahi, the Mask of Time, is not a time travel mask. I believe it's the Motrek.
Okay.
Let's see. Motrek. Yeah, the Motrek is kind of a time travel mask in a weird way. It doesn't work super well with everything else. It's fine. It's cool. Like, it's actual functionality. Like, it's exactly what you say. It's like Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was not one of my favorites. So I could also, like, as a set, I'd put him above Kirox.
Yeah.
As a character, I'd put him behind Akmu.
Okay. Because there was a time thing with his mask. I forgot about that, right? Isn't it like he creates clones that are slightly older than him or something?
So, I'll read off of BS01 here. The Motrek allows its user to transport one or more past versions of themselves to the present as long as they maintain concentration. The user can transport versions of themselves from times when they were not wearing the mask.
Oh.
So it is literally pulling versions of themselves from the past, and if any of them get hurt in the present, that injury persists on the user that brought them forward.
Oh gosh, okay. That does slightly change my opinion on it. I thought it was purely Shadow Clone Jitsu.
Oh yeah, no, it's a time travel-ish
Interesting.
mask.
Okay. I don't know if I like that as much. Maybe I will put him there. That does change things.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yeah. But Malum though.
Ooh.
Oi. I'm glad this is your reaction.
All right. So how do you feel about 09? Just in general.
I love 2009 Bionicle. There are moments where I like it more than old Bionicle. And I know that might be sacrilegious to say, but then I remember 2001 and I take it back. But I love it so much. And Malum is a big reason for that.
Yeah, no, I really like Malum.
Yeah.
Malum. So I really am a sucker for a lot of the Glatorian designs.
Yeah.
I think that they did a really great job as a return to form for that more elemental feel to the characters and their designs, and Malum is awesome.
Yes.
The only thing I was never too thrilled about with him was how often the feet pieces would kind of knock into his Karapar torso armor.
I agree.
But his color scheme rocks, his stature rocks. He's got this really big, beefy, fiery design. Really like Malum.
I wholeheartedly agree. This is one of the weird times where you were talking more about the pieces, but I'm going to talk more about the story for Malum, because I agree. Visually, he's so sick. But I like love his story. That I think the biggest thing for me is because like the 6 sets you get that are sort of Toa traditionally, they're obviously all good guys. But in the 2009 era, the 6 sets you get are not necessarily all in the same team. They're all different parts of a very large world. And I remember as a kid how cool it was that it's like, oh, here's the fire guy. The guy you normally associate with being the hero, the leader. I'll censor this later. Malum's a like, he's not a cool dude. And like, he gets exiled because he's just not a nice guy. And then he ends up like killing leaders of a leader of a Vorok's tribe, and then like becoming their new leader. And then I think he's also presented with, I'm a little rusty on his story, but he's presented with these other challenges, and they're kind of like, hey, come back. And he's like, no, actually, I don't want to. And it's like, it's so cool to get this incredibly flawed, bad dude who is almost to some degree a bit of an outlier to the story to some degree. And he beautifully builds the world of the Voroks, and he beautifully builds just the world in general, and like you see the consequences of what like exile means to this world, and like how it affects a character. And like I think he just does such a good job of building out that world, and he's such a weird departure from so much of the norm that we expected from early Bionicle. And it's a character like this that made me just love that era of 2009. Honestly, I know he doesn't have a function, but I would put him here, man. I love Malum so much.
It isn't where I would put him, but I think those are perfectly reasonable arguments.
Okay.
I think Malum is a cool character. Like, he's a hot character, fire and all that. But yeah, no, he's got a super unique place in things. He's kind of like Akmu, if Akmu were competent and like strong. So yeah, no, I'm totally fine with that. Malum is super cool, and you know what? I don't think we ever have enough 09 representation when community conversations happen. So I'm down for it. I dig it. I really liked 09.
I was about to move him down to like top of A, just purely because you were having a little bit of a doubt with him being in S. But you saying we need some 2009 representation, he's staying there. You're right. 2009's great.
I love it.
What am I looking at in this picture?
Oh, that is the Morbuzakh.
Oh, right. I'm
fine with Morbuzakh going to D.
Thank you. Thank you. Good.
I'd probably put Morbuzakh just a little bit ahead of Karzahni.
But I agree.
I think because like the visual for the beginning of 04 was really cool. Mm-hmm. Like you get like, Matoran are disappearing. Vines are creeping all over the city. It's cool. It is. But also, It's not that cool. It's just...
Yeah.
It's a giant plant, and the plant can talk, and it was taken care of very quickly. And it didn't even show up in the movie. So...
Yeah. I might be misremembering this. The Morbuzakh was teased in, like, when the Metru came out, there was, like, he was in the pamphlets and stuff, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Like, the character was... Or was
definitely in the comics.
Okay. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because my understanding of this character was... I remember whatever year it was, I'm blanking, when the Metru came out.
04.
Thank you. I remember being like, oh, Mudda Nui looks different now. It's Metru Nui, but it's the same, but it's a robot city. And at the time I was like, what's that about? Obviously I get it now. But I remember that being a little bit strange. And also the fact that they're like, it's not the Toa Nuva anymore. It's these new Toa. And I remember as a kid being like, what happened to the Liwa? Like, no. And I fell in love with them later. It was fine. But initially I was a bit kind of like, I don't know about this. And then I remember seeing on a pamphlet, and maybe I'm mixing up the years here, maybe it was the following year, seeing the Morbuzakh and it being like, this is our villain for this year, it's him. And I was like, oh, why is he this weird like render image and not a set? Who am I Toa like going up against? Like, I don't really understand. And that was really confusing for me as a kid. And then the Morbuzakh just kind of got swept away and then wasn't in any movies, and then it was like, oh, actually here's these other characters, and I was kind of like, what was I looking at before? Like, what is that? And I've always seen this character as very forgettable and very, like, confusing, and just sort of didn't really feel like it even fit into the story. I've never really enjoyed it that much. And I wish it got a physical set, because then I would have liked it a lot more. But that's always my experience with that. And again, maybe I'm messing up the years there. I apologize if I am, but that's how I remember it anyway.
What are you talking about? Morbuzakh did get a physical set.
Eh?
Got a sponge.
Really? I don't know about this. What?
Oh, snap. Okay, I will have to send you this picture. I don't know if you want me to send it now, but there was a limited run exclusive, like, comic.
I just Googled it. It looks so weird.
In Germany. It was also released in France, but it came with the Morbuzakh sponge. To this moment, I know of one person in the community that has this sponge.
Oh my god, I want one. Who has it?
I don't know if you're acquainted with him or not. It's Fabulous Fish. It's not how it's spelled, but it is how it's pronounced.
Oh, okay. I don't think I'm familiar with that person.
Yeah, such a swell person. Like, really, really great guy. But yeah, he's the only person that I know of that has this sponge.
Wow.
It is nigh impossible to find it anywhere.
I really wanted it. So weird.
It's so weird.
I'm trying to find it on Bricklink as we speak, but I'm getting distracted.
I don't know if it's actually listed in Bricklink, like,
Dang.
at all.
I'm going down a rabbit hole. I need to not look at this because we're making a video. But thank you for pointing that out. I did not know about that. That's amazing.
Yep.
The next set, Mutran and Viken.
I really like them. So they're not like anything super crazy or anything, but again, I would set-wise, I'd put them ahead of Kirox because, I mean, it's green. It's green and black. I like that. Yeah, no, I really like it. It's a 2-in-1 pack, and the sets go really well together. We get some cool recolors, really just the masks. Story-wise, they're interesting. Mutran is definitely more of like a mad scientist compared to some of the other Makuta.
Yeah.
And Vikan, unlike a lot of the other Matoran we see initially, Vikan is not an Av Matoran. He's not a Matoran of light. He's a Li Matoran that Mutran just was like, yoink, you're mine now.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. But no, it's a cool set. I like it.
I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like this is a set that could have been bad because it could have just been like, here's Chirox 2 and it's not as good. But it felt so exciting as a kid to get that mask in green. It felt like a nice step back to the days of multiple recolored masks. I think the claws on Mutran are so freaking sick. I think as much as I love Chirox, a lot of what this set does feels like an improvement on him, and to some degree, he is kind of just that set again, you know? He's definitely above Chirox. Do you think he would even go a little further up on the list here?
Personally, nah, I don't think so, because I think he has, like, it's a neat set, but it's fairly bog standard in terms of design.
Fair.
Like, it's not doing anything super crazy, and story-wise, like, they're neat characters, but I think the Barraki and Antraz and oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Krika, there we go.
Yep.
Krika, they are just so much better in terms of their visuals and what they have to offer, especially parts-wise.
I think you're right. But still a really good set. Speaking of really
Absolutely.
good sets, Nadiki.
Oh, I like Nadiki.
I like Nadiki.
Gotta go to the store. Get Nadiki.
We've been talking about S tiers needing a function to some degree, except for Malum apparently. I think this set kind of hits that. The brilliant spider-ish like leg design, however you describe that, felt so cool at that time period. I think it still does now. His pincery punch, what's the word? Like, wow, it's 1 o'clock. I don't know what they're called. How do you describe that? The claws snapping together. Snapping together. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
That's so much fun. Even the fact you can do that sort of same play feature with the legs. And the fact that if you really want to, you can put him in his little weird glidey flight mode that he had in the movie, which was always so strange. I freaking loved that as a kid. This set was so cool. What do you think?
This was my favorite Titan from 2004.
Amen.
I don't think 04 had, in my opinion, 04 did not have the strongest Titan wave.
Okay.
There were fewer Titans overall, but I don't think it was the strongest, just in totality. Because you do have, like for me, like you have Kreka, and then you have Duma and Nivok, but on the flip side, you also have Likan and Kikanalo and Nadiki.
Yeah.
And I think Nadiki is a really, really cool set. His character is super fascinating.
Yeah.
A fallen Toa that persists in the story in some way is a really interesting concept. It's the first time we see that in the story. And the set is really cool. There's so much you can do with it. It's really unique. High A, low S. Whichever you're feeling works for me.
Let's go low S.
I guess it's maybe gonna boil down to whether or not we feel like he's better than Krika.
Gosh, because they're quite similar.
Which,
that's
they
tough.
are super similar.
Given the play features, I'll maybe put him above. Because I do think the play features are what makes Bionicle so special. So maybe I would put him above. That's tough though, because Krika's so good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I'll keep it where it is.
Close. It makes me wonder, is this a matter of, is Nadiki too high or is Krika too low?
Oh gosh. Oh, you know what? Yeah, actual. I moved around there, but yeah, I think he actually maybe does. Yeah. If we've got Malum there, because if our little criteria was, they have to have a play feature, but then we've got Piraka there too. No, Krika absolutely deserves to be an S tier. Yes.
I don't think that a S tier has to have a function, but I think that S tier, the sets in S tier make sense when you take their functions into account. But I don't think it's a mandatory prerequisite.
I agree with that. But speaking of S tier, do you think Nocturne is S tier?
Oof, that's a really tough one, because
Yes.
I am a big fan of Nocturne. I think Nocturne is awesome.
I agree.
Oh man, do I think Nocturne's S tier? I love his color scheme. The glow in the dark is of course outstanding. We get so many pieces in lime, like pieces that I have used. So I don't mock a whole lot, but I do have a self mock that uses pieces from Nocturne.
Yeah, cool.
So that's tough. I would say bare minimum, top of A tier.
I weirdly agree with you. I don't know what it is that's not making me think he's quite S tier. I'm trying to find something I don't like about the set, but you're right, the glow in the dark's great. It's that weird General Grievous effect, because anytime anyone ever makes a mock that has 4 arms, it will receive a comment of someone saying it looks like General Grievous, even if it looks nothing like General Grievous. And there's something about a four-armed character that's always sick. And that's Nocturne. I really don't know what it is that's making me not feel like he's in S tier, but he is absolutely top of A tier. You actually taught me something today, because I did not know that Elec was like above him in like ranking and stuff. I, as a kid, the way I played with my Barraki was that Nocturne was their like leader, just because he looked like a big buff Rahkshi, big buff Barraki. And I was like, I guess that makes sense. Sure, this is the way I'm going to play with this. So whatever it was in the actual story, I just wasn't paying attention to, because I was like, no, that's how I'm doing it. That's always kind of how I viewed him. He was like the ultimate Barraki. And so I guess it makes sense that he is beating them out on this A tier.
Yeah, story-wise, he's another kind of big dumb brute. Like his entire species is kind of just, we're big, we're strong.
Mm-hmm.
His whole thing before he ended up in the pit was he broke an island in two on his own.
Oh, that's right.
So, character-wise, he's not anything like crazy cool to me or crazy impressive. In fact, he actually might be dead.
Rip. I think he is. I remember
the one is not loading.
I remember seeing a Nocturne Red Star zombie mock of him. I don't know if that was canon or if it was just a fun idea, but that makes me think he's dead.
There we go. Yeah, he's revived. Yes, so he is actually on the Red Star.
Nice. Even though I don't like that whole Red Star thing, I'm happy he's around,
Yeah. But no, I think top A tier works for him because I don't know if he has the standoutness of the other characters that are in S tier, but he clears the others in A tier.
Absolutely. We have a whole frickin' wave of Piraka now. We begin with Avac.
So, a fun story regarding Avac. So, I got into the Bionicle online community. I started an account in September of 2005.
Nice.
And over the years, I started to integrate myself into the community, started talking to people, starting to volunteer for fan projects. And the first voiceover for anything that I ever did was as Avac in a stop motion, I think it was a stop motion animation of the Toamari versus the Piraka.
Oh, cool.
And I have tried for years now to try and track that down. I thought it was on Vimeo. I've never been able to find it. I have the original audio recording that I recorded, but I'd love to try and track the video down again if it's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
So Avac, I like Avac. He's a cool Piraka. I'm gonna be brutally honest. The Piraka as characters, really cool. I think they are very good. As sets, they are not my go-tos when it comes to canister sets. I'm not the biggest fan of the Piraka.
Interesting. Okay. I think a lot of the other sets have a few more kind of standout points that make me gravitate towards them a little more. Avac has always been a little bit more, I've kind of said this word before, forgettable. I have enjoyed his weapon. I liked the way that it sort of flipped up and down. There was just something nice about it. He has a lot of dark tan. I love dark tan, so that's a win. But especially when I look at his old prototype mask or face, I wish we'd got that. That was so sick. I do like the final version, but I really like that prototype. I don't know. See?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Fair.
Yeah, because Avac is neat. He's the inventor for the Piraka.
Yeah,
and he did make a pretty goated blaster, the Zamor launcher. But yeah, no, I think C tier is fine. Me personally, I'd put most of the Piraka in C tier, with the exception of Zaktan.
You know what? Let's actually just do this as a well, maybe, I don't know. It depends if you have things you want to say about each of them. We could kind of do all these as a group if you want, because I kind of feel the same way about Hakan. He's cool, but there's not much about him that stands out as much. And again, I think that some of the other sets do the same thing. I think he's cooler than Avac. Redak, to me, is kind of similar. I'm gonna go through all these. I'll let you say some stuff if you want, but I'll just put them on, and then you can tell me individual things.
Go for it.
Redak, I feel is above Avac. One thing I always hate about him is his little horns. Here they look so cool. The way they're silhouetted looks great. But in my actual one, they're always warped because of that rubber, which is a shame.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I did not like the rubber.
yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, the spines, the rubber spines were just really annoying to me.
I get that. I remember enjoying it because I remember as a kid being like, oh, this is different, this is fun, but yeah, some of the ways they'd warp was always a bit difficult. Thok is probably my favorite. I'd maybe even put him over Gorast. I love the what's it called? Very light blue.
The off sand white.
Yeah. It has a name. I think it's like very light white, or it's very light bluish grey.
Oh, interesting.
Love that color. I wish we got more of it, and I love his like Mr. Freeze weapon. He's great. Vizok, I like more than Hakan. He's cool, but again, there's not a huge amount that really gravitates me towards him. Love the harpoon. Zaktan was my first Piraka. I've always liked him. He's always sort of stood out for me. That's how I'd probably mark them. I feel bad putting them in C. I love the Piraka. They're great, but I think everything else is better. That's how I feel. How do you feel about the Piraka? Do you think any of these should be moved? Do you have any fun stories or things you like?
I think character-wise, I would put Zaktan in B. I would put him It's tough because set-wise, I'm not like crazy jazzed about him. I might put him. I like Zaktan more than most of our B tier, right up until about Bittle. I think which seems like it's pretty far, but his character was very good. He definitely got the most focus of the Piraka, and he was always the most interesting. So that's where I would place him. All the others, I have no qualms with.
I weirdly like that you've said this. I feel like he would go here, just because I like these sets more personally. I don't have any specific reasons that I'm like, oh, he's so cool. A lot of it is purely personal nostalgia, because I played with him a lot. He was my first Piraka. I liked him. He was just cool. I do like his weapon, the little pincer or the little 3-blade thing. It's cool.
Yeah, the tri-blade.
Green. Look, honestly, I'm with you on the green train. Green Bionicles are always great. I don't know. Do you agree with this placement, or do you feel he's better here? Should we put him somewhere in between?
I'm fine with either or. As a character, I think he clears most of those. Okay. As a set, I think his placement there is totally valid.
Yeah, all right, we'll keep him there. Look, I'm happy with that. I still feel bad. I love the Piraka. I will always laugh at their animations in the Bionicle Heroes game. Always funny. Yo-Yo Piraka, all that. But I'm sorry, I think a lot of these other sets just hold it a bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Rahkshi.
Rahkshi. Washed and chilled. Fantastic.
Yes.
Rahkshi are, I think, some of the most iconic Bionicle sets. Arguably, they really, really saved LEGO after the Bohrok-Kal, at least according to Greg.
Yeah.
I think alone for what they did in terms of the development of Bionicle canister sets, I think it's reasonable, to me at least, to put them in S tier.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. I agree. I don't know if they're better than Krika. I think they're bottom of S tier. But that feels a little bit like a crime to me at the same time, because if we're talking most iconic Bionicle set, it's the Bohrok. I almost feel like the Rahkshi might be the second most iconic Bionicle sets. Maybe there's an argument for the Toa Mata being above that. But
I think the Mata take the number one spot, but I think right afterwards it's Bohrok then Rahkshi.
Yeah, you're probably right. I guess with how much LEGO likes to use Tahu in everything, that's very fair, yeah. But they're so cool. The Krata. Something I love so much about the Rahkshi is how much you don't see it a huge amount today. You saw it a lot in the past, maybe 2010ish and before that. So many Rahkshi mocks all the time, everywhere in the community. For whatever reason, people just really gravitated towards that aesthetic. I remember seeing people, giving their Rahkshi hair and crowns and really changing the body shape and making their own original characters with it and stuff. People really rallied behind that aesthetic and that face, everything about them. People love it. And I love the fact that there's so many different types of Rahkshi. Am I right? It's 47. I think there's even hundreds or something. I forget the number exactly.
42.
Thank you. I love that. I love that a lot of those we didn't even get sets for, and it's up to you as a Bionicle builder and person who builds mocks to make them yourself. That's so great. There's just this beautiful playground for creativity, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I think the Rahkshi are really awesome. I think the only real huge weakness to them is their collectible. I think the Krata collectibles were kind of at the height of the oversaturation
I agree.
of Bionicle collectibles. They weren't like really cool and standoutish as like masks are, but the Rahkshi themselves I think are outstanding. I think bottom of S tier works totally fine.
Yeah.
In my eyes, I would personally, if I were solely doing the list, I would put them probably right after the Bohrok. But
Wow.
I think considering the character angle as well, since this is a Bionicle villains tier list, I think putting them right there works extremely well, because the Rahkshi are not characters. They are just suits of armor controlled by slugs.
Yeah. I do appreciate what you said, though, about the, like, oversaturation thing, because I do remember as a kid being like, oh, these are worms? I don't really want to collect these, you know? Plus, there were so many, and I remember as a kid also kind of being like, hey, look, I'm not even going to try, you know?
Yeah.
Rudaka.
No, absolutely. Whew. Rudaka.
As a set, good. She does some very interesting things that a lot of other sets didn't do. The high heel design, creative, clever, different. Getting that Vahki face and putting claws for the eyes, especially in what at the time was an exclusive recolor, that trans orange, you know, Exoforce claw. Cool. She does have a few issues with me. I don't know if it's mine being like an older copy. Stability-wise, she doesn't always stand up very well. She falls over a lot for me. I don't know if you have the same thing or not, but...
I have not encountered that with my copy.
Okay. I'm going to guess that's just I have weaker sockets on her or something. However, I feel like it has to be said, you cannot escape the over-sexualization of this character, whether that's from pretty much every facet of how she is interpreted by fans, by the story, by whatever. And I'm not necessarily a big fan of that, if I'm honest. It's never really been my favorite thing, and like, I kind of hate that it's sort of like, for lack of a better term, kind of poisons the character. Like, anything fun or interesting about her or her design very much gets overshadowed by that. And hey, if that's how you want to enjoy this set, if that's how you want to enjoy this character, sure, do whatever you want. But if we're talking about like female representation and stuff, I don't think it's that like respectful necessarily. I don't know if that's necessarily the right word to be using, but like, I don't know. I always sort of grapple with that a lot, and I kind of hate that whenever Rudaka comes up into conversation, it is a very heavily sexualized conversation, and I don't get it, if I'm honest. So like, that's always a bit unfortunate. But if we're just purely looking at her as a character and as a set, there is a lot of good to it. Whether that's interesting techniques or like a decently compelling villain. Yeah, that's how I feel, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
No, I firmly agree. I think Rudaka stands out in a bad way in the overall catalog of Bionicle sets, because she does look extremely like humanoid, and not humanoid as in like a bipedal, like 2 legs, looks like a person kind of a way, but like someone was looking at an anatomy guide and tried to replicate that instead of making a Bionicle character. It feels like it's supposed to be a human design, but not a Bionicle character.
I get you. Okay. Yeah.
And I think that stands out in a negative way, especially considering the things that you'd said about Rudaka. And I don't know how that all happened, how that came to be. I've heard that it was because the set wasn't really designed by Lego set designers, but it was more of a design pitched by Miramax first.
Okay.
And then Lego made a set based off of that design work. That would make sense to me. I don't know how true that is, though. But Rudaka as a character is whatever. Like in the movie, she's this dominatrix character, which is, again, really weird.
For a kid's
and then
toy.
From that point on, she doesn't do a whole heck of a lot. So I'm not terribly enamored by her character. I do think that her set design is a net negative for the overall Bionicle catalog. I would put her. It's a well-made set, so I would put this very end of B tier, possibly somewhere in C.
I will go with B because I think that despite some of the things we're talking about, I think that there is a lot of like interesting techniques or like new things that were being explored in the set. And yes, I think that it is still like a solid enough set. So I think it's fair to say that I'm happy with it in low B, as you said. Yeah. Sidorak.
I feel kind of similarly to Sidorak as I do Rudaka,
Okay.
but not in the same sense. Like, Sidorak as a character is really just... He really just exists to play off of Rudaka and vice versa. Like, he doesn't stand on his own. He's made very pathetic in the movie.
Yeah.
The set itself is fine. Like, I like the set, but I don't know if it is necessarily a better designed set than Rudaka from a build perspective, like the actual parts composition.
Okay.
I think they're about equal, and he's a slightly less interesting character.
I can agree with you on the character because I watched the first and second Bionicle movie probably like 50 times. The third one, I think I watched it once, maybe twice. So there's a lot I don't remember, but I even remember as a kid being like, man, Sidorak kind of is a bit pathetic, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember being like, oh, but the set's so cool. And I, as a kid, freaking love Sidorak. I still do. I think he's great as a toy. Love his face. The, like, slicer foot piece for that, like, mouth guard makes him look like freaking Darth Vader, and I love it. I was always confused as to whether or not the Bohrok eyes were his eyes, or if the, like, missing eyepiece thing was his eye. I never knew what it was meant to be. But it didn't bother me too much either way. His cool, flippy switchblade hand thing, so much fun. The fact that you can like kind of pull the thing and it flips out, or you can just move the arm really fast and it comes out, so sick. The fact that his claws lock in the Ratuka spinner and are just claws, so freaking cool. The dark red and the black was a lot more exciting at the time. It's a little more sort of saturated as we move through Bionicle. Mainly the dark red. But I don't know, I actually really like him as a toy. He loses points as a character, he's a bit more bland.
That's fair. No, I think that's totally reasonable.
To me, I would put... I would put him... Why does it do that? I clicked here. Move! I would put him here, is where I'm thinking. But you seemed a little more negative about it. Negative in a... I don't mean that in a bad way, but like you seemed a little more kind of like he's lower down. What do you think?
Well, I do like the set more than Krika.
That was my logic too, yeah. But I feel like I like Kalma more.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
Yeah, you know what? I'm totally content with that. That works totally fine with me.
Love it. Skrull.
Skrull, I think, really got the short end of the stick in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like, first, Skrull it's a group, like it's a species, so we lose a lot of characterization there. There are individual Skrull, but we don't spend any significant amount of time with any of them to get attached. I think the actual set design is cool. I think that the shield is awesome. I think the sword is a really cool and fun design. I'm not super thrilled with the blade pieces on the shoulders. I think those in conjunction with the helmet can kind of clash at times, like when you're trying to get him into a cool pose.
Okay.
But the color scheme is super striking, and I think that it's a really cool set.
I love all the individual unique pieces on this. Like, especially the fact that the shield is also the shape of that maze that pops up later in the 2009 story.
Yeah.
There was something about these pieces on the Skrull that again made me love 2009, where they felt ancient, they felt important. Even the fact that it's like worked into the back of the mask, like something about it felt so like signifiers of a larger world, a bigger story that you're not quite privy of. Like, these markings must have some meaning. What is it? Will we learn that mystery? That kind of stuff. And I think there was a nice bit of intrigue to that really pulled me to this set. Yeah, I really like Skrull. I do wish that this set, and similar to Vorok's that we'll talk about later, I wish that this set had a name other than Skrull. I wish it was like, they're the Skrull species and this is Jeff Skrull, you know? Because I always find it a bit annoying being like, oh, it's Skrull. It's like, yeah, well, are you talking about the species or the, like it's just a bit confusing.
Yeah.
In the same way that the next character, Histronius, is a Skrull, but he's Stronius. You know, like I wish that this guy had a name.
Mm-hmm.
That's, but I don't know if that necessarily like makes this set lose too many points. A?
Yeah. Personally, I'd put him above Kirox, but I don't feel super strongly about it. But yeah, I'm content with A.
I'm gonna put him above Chirox. Stop, move, do what? There we go. I don't know why it's doing that. I just love this set. Like having a lot of my Bionicles on display, it's often one that I gravitate towards. He's just really cool. Speaking of Skrull,
no, I agree.
Stronius,
a specific Skrull. Really, he doesn't have much of a character. Like, we don't spend any significant amount of time with him. He's just doing his own thing. Big, brutish, elite Skrull. The set is dynamite, though. That's a cool-looking set.
The bulky armor pieces I've seen a lot of people use, not so much today, but in the past I saw a lot more use for them. It's weird, I want to be like, oh, we never really got bulky aesthetics for our bad guys, but Karapar, Malum, like we did. But I don't know, I really liked this, and something about those pieces feels like jagged, sharp rock, which was kind of what their home looked like, and I liked that it sort of played off of that. He's just freaking cool. He unfortunately isn't like Malum, who looks cool but then also has a story to go with him. Because I remember as a kid being like, oh, I freaking love this set. Tell me about this character, and there just wasn't much. And it's annoying because that really does push him down lower. I want to put him in A because he's so sick, but like, yeah, the story affects it. Like, if we're talking story, he's definitely not better than Akmu because he's a great character. I'm gonna.
I think putting him right after Akmu is totally fair though, because he looks cool. I like the look of him and his set more than I do Bittle.
Stop. What is happening?
It is fighting you hard.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah, I was going to put him here, but I think visually he is better than most of these characters. I think that he is there, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Makuta, Pterodax. Terry, if you will.
This is a tough one, because I like this set on principle.
Okay.
I think a lot of what it does is really cool. Again, I love, kind of like the Bahrag, I love how he is comprised so much of Rahkshi pieces.
Agreed.
It's great. Color scheme is fine. I don't know if I would have gone with quite as much red as he does, but overall, I feel like this is a good A tier set. Not a super high A tier. There's a lot of mobility issues that this set has, a lot of balance issues that it has.
Yes.
In years since, like the gear function is fine, but again, it's just the Rahkshi function, which is fine, but with all the other issues, I don't know. This does not stand out in my mind as a set that is like a must-have.
Oh, interesting, because I was going to say the fact that it is the bad guy, the main villain, I feel like it is a must-have for that. But I get what you're saying.
Fair.
Yeah. To me, because I said before, like I think I said before, it's getting late, I'm forgetting what I said. Pterodax was a set that I really wanted as a kid, but never got until, I think it was like 2010. There was like a Lego club at my school, and they had a built Pterodax there, and I kept being like, how cool is this set? And then one day, I was like kind of friends with the like teachers that ran it, and eventually they were like, hey, you can take Pterodax home, and I was like, yeah! So
that's awesome.
It was great. For a set that's pretty old, because what was that, 2003? It did a pretty good job. It was quite revolutionary, I think, for the time, and like felt like a pretty solid visualization for this big bad evil guy. It is a character that I wish we'd seen like a version 2 of, like the scale of like Toa Matanui, where it's like here's an all-out beautiful version of the main good guy essentially for Bionicle. I wish we'd kind of gotten that for Makuta. You know, all the new pieces, all the evolution in designs. I wish we'd seen like an ultimate Makuta later on. I'm not talking about Ultimate Doom. That doesn't count, and I don't like that set. But Yeah, it would have very much benefited from a modern reimagining, but for what it is, I think it is very strong. I wholeheartedly agree with you that somewhere in A, I'm going to say... Oh, is he better than Antros? I don't know. What do you think?
I think he's more iconic than Antros.
That's... Yeah.
We can't forget story. Pterodax is one of the most detailed and complex and fleshed out characters in the Bionicle story. He has a reputation that precedes him in every way, shape, and form.
He's got such a good story that he is better than Akmu, story-wise, who I think is winning. Was winning.
Yeah, no,
100%. Yeah. The Shadowed One. So, I love this character. I love that he's a leader of this, like, bounty hunter organization. I love the fact that he's a nice alternate build for Kitongu and Rudaka. And he's kind of got a bit of an Anubis vibe going on with his face. He's cool. That being said, D tier. He has 3 legs. Why? It's dumb.
Does he actually have 3 legs? Hang on.
I remember as a kid seeing this, and I'd only ever seen kind of like this, like the photo of it from like waist up. And then looking into it deeper, one day I realized, like, wait, he's got 3 legs. And I spent like an entire evening going on forums looking, being like, can someone please confirm that that's not 3 legs? Because that's dumb. And I saw countless debates of people being like, it is a 3rd leg, and other people being like, no, it's a tail. And I don't know if Greg ever officially said something. I see a lot more people leaning towards it being a tail. But the way that combiner is built, it really feels like a kind of tripod, and I don't like it.
You know, BSO1 does not state one way or the other whether or not it's a tail or a 3rd leg.
It's annoying. There's no definitive, like, it is this or it isn't this, but, like, I choose to believe it's a tail. And if it's a tail, then this is, like, maybe a B. But if it's a 3rd leg, it really upsets me. I'm willing to put him, like, here, though. I'm willing to ignore the 3rd leg. Giggity. But, like, sorry. There's a visual image that if you, like, Google Shadowed One, it tends to pop up pretty quickly, where it's this beautiful fan art where it really leans into, like, the Anubis look. Whenever I look at that, I'm like, that's the Shadowed One. And when I think of that, I'm like, he's so cool. The design is a little rough around the edges, but it is a combiner that's expected. But, like, he is still cool. So I'm willing to put him, like, bottom of B, but I've spoken a lot. I'm very passionate about this. What do you think of the Shadowed One?
I'm fine with that. I did build this combiner to review it. I don't remember how I felt about it. Yeah. I feel like I felt very, very lukewarm about it overall. Like, it was fine. The character is cool. Very mysterious. He's the head of the Dark Hunters. And he has he's extremely intimidating, and that's really cool. Yeah, I know. I think B is totally fine. Definitely be cool to know one day, what is that? I would put money on it's a tail.
I agree.
But I would also laugh until I cried if it turned out to be a 3rd leg. That would be hilarious.
Yes. Because there's also, I believe it's an official image from a comic where he's, like, sitting in a throne, and I think that's, like, the main picture on the wiki, I think. Or BS.
Oh, yes. That's also from Bionicle World.
Okay. Because I look at that and I'm like, well, how does he sit if he has a 3rd leg? Like, it must be a tail. But then how does he sit if he has a tail unless there's a hole in the back of the chair? Yeah, so I don't know. That, like, I've spent hours trying and praying to figure out whether or not this was a tail or a leg. It's a new game show. Is it a tail or is it a leg? Yeah. So it's a pet peeve of mine. But yeah, I'm happy with where we put him. I think that's good, and he's certainly a cool character. Yeah. Tuma.
No, I agree. Tuma.
Look, well, on that, worst name of any of the characters on here. Why is he called Tuma? But anyway, what do you? It's a
really weird name.
Yeah.
So. This is a fun one. So when I did my Tuma review, I had unknowingly, since 2009, incorrectly built my Tuma.
Oh.
And so I do the review and I'm like, yeah, this is Tuma. He's kind of weird though. His legs don't move independent of one another. They only move in the same direction. And then I got a comment. I was like, what are you talking about? They move independently just fine. And so I look back at the instructions for the first time in like a decade-ish and realize, I have to redo this entire review. So I scrambled and remade the entire review in like 2-ish hours.
Wow.
Maybe less. And it's the only time I had to do that. Tuma's fine. I don't feel... So like as a set, Tuma is cool.
Yes.
Tuma is intimidating. He's got the cool sword. Again, I love that color scheme. We get new recolors in the form of... I mean, and we got them in another set as well, but the Mari Torn blades in lime. Mm-hmm. We have those Mantax feet in lime. That's excellent. We do get the Inika feet in lime, but we also got that in Gresh. Definitely docking points, because Tuma is the first Bionicle construction set to feature stickers.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I don't know, it's interesting because like whenever I look at Tuma, I was always kind of like, he's a little forgettable, like there's not much to him that really like stands out all that much. But when I did my review of Tuma, I remember being quite surprised by him. When I really sat down and spent some time with him, I was like, actually, like, for this being essentially the last Titan set, to some degree, maybe you could argue Toa Matanui is, but like, him being one of the last ones, there's a lot of interesting design work that they'd sort of developed after all those years that was distilled into him. And like, I think from a structural point of view and like a posability point of view, he built on a lot of years of design to reach a pretty good kind of pinnacle. He's weirdly forgettable, but like what he does, I think he does well. And I remember it always annoyed me a little bit that, because he's got those lime scroll pieces on his back. And part of me loved the idea of that being like exclusive to him. And then I hated that the stars scroll and then Thero had it, and part of me was like, oh, I liked it being his thing. Like, I almost wish that the red was on the normal like Skrull henchman. Maybe the Atticus and the others had, blue ones, and then he had green, like it was his special thing, He also didn't have the Skrull shield in lime like he did in the movie. Wish he had that. He should have. That upsets me still. But I think for a set that what it does well, even though it's a little kind of like, I feel like he's somewhere in B, maybe end of B.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like his character, his character had a lot of potential that just wasn't capitalized on.
Sure.
The set is cool. I think end of B is fine. Those stickers definitely. I think the stickers are what put him below the Shadowed One and Rudaka for me.
Sure. Yeah, I can get behind that.
At the same time, I'm actually starting to think maybe Karzahni's a little high up because I don't terribly care for the character or the set we ended up getting. More like the Karzahni set is a great parts pack,
yes,
but I like Tuma more as a set than I do Karzahni.
Yeah. Are you saying Karzahni end of B?
I don't know, I'm kind of leaning that way. What do you think?
Maybe it's a slightly different story if we're talking set versus this image. No, I'm happy with that. Yeah,
because I think like Karzahni is a okay character. I think the appearances we get for Tuma are better showings than the appearances we get for Karzahni.
No, I agree with that.
And in the compound with the set being better, I think that they're very close.
They are definitely very close. I'm happy with this change.
Okay.
Vahki.
I'd put them in C. I think like N to C. They're not characters, they're just robots.
I agree. I remember always being really disappointed that they weren't in the second Bionicle movie. And I remember kind of being like, what do I do with these toys? Like, I know there was other stories where they featured in. A lot of the story that I was getting at the time was purely the movies. And so I remember being kind of like, I don't know what to think of these Vahki. And like, the toys are still good, but like, they are probably the most forgettable Bionicle characters for me. I like them, but like, everything else is a lot better, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, they do make an appearance in the movie. It's just only 2 variants, and they're not specific. They're just generic troops.
Right. Yeah. But even still, like, if I remember correctly, they were just seen as, like, bodyguards for Duma. Is that right?
They have a little, that like, they do a little bit of, like, blasting at the Toa, but
Oh, okay.
nothing too great.
Yeah. But see, even that, like, as a kid, I was like, oh, I want to see more, you know? Like, it just good concepts, but just, I think... Honestly, I think if they just made a bigger feature in the movie, I would have liked them more. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
No, I agree. And the sets are just... Nah.
Yeah.
They don't do anything better than anything else. Like the Rahkshi, I feel are better than they are.
Oh, absolutely. Vizon and Fendrak.
This is a tough one. The set always felt kind of restricted to me. Fenrak did. Vazon is definitely half of a Piraka. That is so true. And I was really let down that Vazon has the first set iteration of the Ignika, and it is nothing like the Ignika we had spent the majority of the year growing accustomed to.
Yeah.
Because, like, we were so used to the Ignika with the bunny ears, and then it was not that. So, for me personally, and Vazok's fine. I know a lot of people... Sorry, Vazon. Vazon is fine. A lot of people felt like toward the end of the story, he had well overstayed his welcome.
Okay.
I don't feel as strongly against him. So I might, if it were me, like maybe end of A tier.
The way you were talking, I was thinking you were going to say maybe like a B or a C, and I was like, oh, he's got to be an A. But I'm not against putting him there. I almost think he's better than Chirox, though. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree.
Yeah. I do.
In fact, I would probably, I might put him ahead of Skrull as well.
Yeah, actually, that's fair. I do love the, like, mount kind of concept, and the fact that it is this gigantic, gross, blade, flesh, giant teeth kind of creature. It's a sick aesthetic. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that. There's a part of me that almost wants to put him here too, because I do really like him, but I also can't escape the fact that I like the Kardas Dragon more, and I'm upset he's not on this list. I know they're kind of sort of the same character, but you know.
Yeah, no, I get that. Kardas would definitely go higher, and I know, to me, the set is just a little awkward when you have them riding together. On their own, they're fine.
I understand, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think where he's at, that works for me. I feel fine with that.
Same, yeah. The Visorak.
Maybe ahead of the Bohrok-Kal. I like the Visorak.
Okay.
I think they're very colorful. I think they're a cool... I mean, spider enemies, I think, work very well. They are very intimidating in the story. I love the Rotuka launcher function. The pincer function works great. I really like the Visorak, so I'd probably put them ahead of the Kal.
Yeah, actually. It's funny, I was going to come in and be like, to me, they're very similar to the Vahki. I often forget about them, and I feel like they often get overshadowed by a lot of other characters. But, like, what they do really well, and they're fun, and they also have such a big impact on the Toa, and that's great. And I remember having so much fun with them as a kid. Plus, the amount of mocks I see that use that Visorak body, which, for all intents and purposes, should be a difficult piece to use. But I see a lot of great mocks using them to great avail. The pincers, fangs, whatever you want to call them, same deal, great for mocks. Like, that absolutely, I agree with that spot.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like the Visorak.
What about the Voroks?
See, I like the Voroks.
I agree.
I think the Voroks is very cool. Not much of a character. They're very tragic in story in the sense that, like, they all just kind of devolved into creature-like people. I like the set. I like that we get to see the return of Tan in a really big way.
Yeah, hey.
And we get a lot of really great recolors in Tan as well. I kinda wanna put him ahead of Duma and Nivok, personally. But I don't have a super strong argument for anywhere else. So I think wherever else you feel that they might fit.
I was gonna say here. My logic was I love the design choices with a lot of their exclusive pieces, where it feels like they're wearing bones of other creatures that they've turned into armor, and it's such a great sort of representation of the very, like, difficult lifestyle of being on Barra Magna as a planet, this desert planet. even just the scene in The Legend Reborn where one of them attacks Matanui, and it's like, these are sort of real genuine threats that if you're exploring the desert, you'll have to face them. The very sort of bestial qualities that the design of this creature has is great. I think just what it does in a great way. And again, I love 2009, and I love what these characters, how they kind of tie into the story and stuff. I really like them.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I have no qualms with that whatsoever.
Dope. Who is this?
That is the Zevon. So that is another Rahi.
Mm-hmm.
It is a combination, of course, of all 6 of the Vizorak.
Okay.
And it resides in the Zone of Darkness. Basically, whenever someone needs a giant kaiju, they just open up the Zone of Darkness and out it comes.
Okay. Huh.
Have you ever built this combo model?
I have not.
Not great.
Okay. I'm not surprised.
It uses all 6 of the Vizorak, and it's really top heavy. It struggles, and especially if the joints have aged and do not have a great deal of friction, good luck getting this thing to stand.
Okay.
So the color scheme's all over the place. It's really heavy in places that make it difficult to pose. It's just a mess.
Okay.
So, and it's a Rahi, so it doesn't really have any kind of character. It's actually kind of weird and sad to think it just lives in perpetual darkness. It's kind of weird.
Jeez.
Out of pity, I might put it just behind Icarax.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree. It looks to me like the kind of mocks that you saw in the Rahi books or the Dark Hunter books where you were like, oh, I don't really like that one as much. It doesn't... It just sort of feels a bit dated. It doesn't quite work. Like, yes, it's a fun combiner, but it just, I don't know, it just doesn't kind of do what it's setting out to achieve visually. And yeah, the fact that there's not a huge amount of story to go with it is a bit kind of lackluster as well. Yeah. I think this is also just a really good example of an older design that really doesn't age well now, and that could look a lot better with more modern techniques and pieces and stuff like that. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. No, I certainly agree.
But what about Ancient?
Ancient, so I've never interacted with the model.
Yeah, me
it
neither.
looks totally fine. Ancient is kind of just a buddy, good pal, good friend to the Shadowed One, right up until the Shadowed One kills him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fine. I don't have any strong opinions on Ancient, so if you've had more experience with the model, definitely weigh in more than I will.
I unfortunately haven't. I would actually like to build him. As a kid, I got really into the Dark Hunters, and I built my own version of Ancient, which was heavily inspired by someone else. So I don't know if they exist anymore. I think they were mainly on mock pages, and all their stuff's kind of been deleted. But it was this sick, like, big, bulky version of Ancient with a big, like, gun arm. It looked so cool. And so whenever I think of the character, I always think of that mock. But yeah, I really would like to build this. I remember kind of being like, oh, there's not a huge amount of story about the character other than kind of what you said. But I still really liked it. I liked the idea of, like, here's the big, bad, scary Shadowed One, and here's his second in command. There was something kind of just nice about that. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of just a B, like... You know what? I'm going to put him next to the Shadowed One. That actually feels appropriate. From just ranking and, you know, their buddies.
No, I like that.
Yeah. The Konohi Dragon.
This one disappoints me so much.
Oh, okay.
Because not because of it, I guess. This is more of a Lego fault. And you know what? Maybe somewhere out there in the grand scheme of things, like, someone has another picture of this thing and it can be reverse engineered, because right now, good luck.
Yeah, right.
Like, this, I've never seen anyone, like, successfully pull off reverse engineering this thing, and this is the only photo we have of it.
Shame. Okay.
And that's just why I'm kind of disappointed. Other than that, it's cool. It's a really, like, neat concept. Oh, maybe someone has reverse engineered it. I'm seeing some progress on, like, the TTV message boards.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so I guess there is some hope somewhere, but it's a cool dragon. We didn't really get a whole lot of alternative dragon appearances. So it is cool. It doesn't do a whole lot in the story itself. I don't have any strong feelings on it. There are other dragons in Rahi that I like more.
Oh, okay. I remember looking through the Rahi book and seeing this, and then also seeing the name and being like, oh, the idea of a Kanohi dragon I thought was so fascinating. Because I was like, well, the masks are so akin to the Toa. Like, does this have a mask? Like, what's up with that? And I remember loving the idea of it having masks as its like scales. And I don't think that's canon at all, but I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought this thing like visually looked so sick. And it was one of the many characters in that book that I would stare at and be like, if I could build a Bionicle mock like that, that would be so sick. I think it just looks cool. I think for the limitation of pieces at the time that this would have been made and entered into that contest to be a part of the book, they did a really good job. Like the whiskers look awesome. There are masks worked into its body, which is fun. I think it's cool, but like, I feel like I'd go low B. Because I think visually it's great, but I am disappointed to hear that there's not really a lot of story to go with it, and that like, yeah, I think I just want a little more out of it, and I'm not sure how much else there is to this creature.
Yeah. No. Fun fact about it that I just learned, according to BSO1, and there is a citation for it. It was the largest model submitted to the contest.
That's cool.
That is really interesting. And we know the name of the guy that made it, but I don't know if anyone's ever reached out and be like, hey, do you have literally any other pictures of this thing?
Yeah. Oh, we are on the last one. Take us home.
Oh boy.
What do you think of, I'm blanking on this character's name. Is this sent, who are they? It's 2 a.m. I'm forgetting.
Oh, that one is Centrak.
That was on the tip of my tongue. I know nothing about this character. I remember seeing this concept alternate build and thinking, oh, that looks cool. I like the teeth, but I never built it as a kid. I was like, I like my Kitongu enough. I don't want to take him apart. That's kind of as far as I went with this guy. What do you think?
So I did build this, and Centrak, story-wise, is a bodyguard to the Shadowed One.
Oh, cool.
No real characterization to write home about. Like, does not speak, and has a whole bunch of weird power sets. Centrak is fine. I don't really remember building him, and just nothing character-wise, so I don't have any opinion on Centrak, any strong opinion. So wherever Centrak goes is where he goes. Like, it's not a bad model.
I feel the same. Part of me just feels like I just know nothing about it, so it sort of feels a bit difficult to place it. I feel like visually, I maybe like Icarax more. Maybe I would put him there, if the computer will let me. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with that, because like, it's cool, but yeah, I was never compelled enough to build it, and I think that is a sign as to whether or not it's noteworthy or good.
No, I agree.
Well,
No, absolutely.
That's our little tier list here. Is it, looking at it now, is there anything that you're like, hey, we made a mistake, we got to move more out?
You know what? No, I really like this list. It's obvious to me now which sets and characters are missing. And I gotta say, the real big standout to me that is missing from this tier list, it's Maxilos.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Because I was going to say the Cardus Dragon, because it's one of my favorite Bionicle sets. Honestly, both Cardus Dragon and Maxilos would be S tier for me. They're brilliant sets.
That is entirely fair. Very hard to dispute. I think that Maxilos and Spinax, to me, easy S tier. That's a great set. But no, I think we did a really good job here. I think I really like this list. I think this looks really solid. I think S tier absolutely knocks it out of the park. I dig it. I think we did solid work.
But the real MVP today was Akmu, because I feel a growing fondness to this character, and I am very compelled to go off and read stories about them. I'm looking at them right now. They're actually on my desk as we speak. So,
oh, perfect.
Yeah, that's the real winner today. It's Akmu. Well, LJ, thank you so much for that. That was fun. It was a long one, but I have had people message me before where they're like, Ben, please do some long form content. So here you go. I think this is at least 2 hours, probably more. Enjoy. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too.
This was a blast. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Well, thank you, everyone. Happy building. And bye for now. And thank you, LJ. Well, quickly, actually, before we go, where can people find you online if they don't know about you already?
Oh, yeah, you can find me most places. You can find me on YouTube in a couple places. That's where I mostly am right now. I primarily contribute to the TTV channel. Definitely go and check that out. We are doing some more content, including a Bionicle Heroes Let's Play. The latest guest, as of the recording of this video, being the wonderful, the one, the only, Ben Cossie.
That's me.
I have my own YouTube channel. It's LJ Johnson, ELJAYJOHNSEN. I have not been doing a lot on it. I've just been too busy over the years, but I hope to get back to it eventually. But that's mostly it. You can find me on most other social media, just looking up that name. And Ben, thank you so much for having me today. This was a huge blast. I'm really glad we got to do this.
I agree. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
You know, this entire time, he really didn't move anywhere else, did he?